with R2D2 and C3PO is the third episode in, and it was so stupid. They met R2D2 and C3PO on public transport.
That sounds like a horrible idea. Thanks for telling us, Shiny. Therefore, we will not have to watch it. That's a great synopsis there.
There's an episode called Idiot's Array where Zeb loses Chopper to Lando Calrissian in a game of Sabacc, and they have to smuggle a space cow, a space pufferfish cow, and they get into shit because of that. Lando sells Hera to a fucking a slaver.
Yeah, Star Wars Rebels is like cancer.
Okay, so the moral of the story is don't watch Star Wars Rebels. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
watch that.
Gentlemen. All right. Thanks for everyone for joining us. We're live, and we were going to doing. I don't know if this is defense of.
Oh, I didn't realize we were live.
The last. Well, you kept talking, so I was like, forget it. Let's go. The Last Jedi, the sequels, the prequel. I think this is all of Star Wars. This man is single-handedly defending Star Wars from all the fans that are bad fans. They're just bad. So
big dumb fanboys.
There you go. See, that's what we are. We just don't like things. We're so negative. We're just stupid. We just can't figure stuff
big
out.
Dumb He's defending the franchise from the fanboys and the people who supported the franchise for decades. Who isn't on that side then? Who has been supporting the franchise and brought it to where it was today? If it wasn't the fanboys, if it wasn't the fans of Star Wars.
Yeah, all these,
who else was it?
These 34-year-old gentlemen and women who love the franchise, know it ins and outs, just go, wait a second, the prequels weren't exactly that great, guys. I mean, they were good, but they weren't that good. And then there was sequels where you're like, whoa, wait, slow down here. Now you're messing stuff up. This doesn't make sense. So, we're wrong. Our criticisms are bad, and we got to just shut up and consume product and enjoy. That's what we got to do, guys. So
just consume. All you got to do is consume, and no negativity. Can't give a negative opinion about anything, or else you're a hater, and probably a Nazi or something.
Quit being a hater.
Essentially. So we're going to go through this gentleman. His name is, let me just scroll down here, Joe Tufano. And we don't care how big his channel is. We don't care how small. We will listen to his arguments. We'll see what he has to say and understand what his problem is with the fans, because I'm quite sure everyone can appreciate Star Wars, young and old, and it's part of our culture. This is the thing we love.
If only I was the one that ruined Star Wars for him, that'd be so much better.
That'd be easier.
You'd be drinking happiness.
It'd be Smudcast number 56. LiteratureDevil has ruined the franchise.
Well, he's the devil. He debunks people's happiness all the time.
That way I would know I debunked this guy's happiness, and it would make me happy. And I'm not. But by the way, I'm not. That's not me decreasing the amount of happiness in the universe. I tell you this: when I learned that I have debunked someone's happiness, my happiness at least equals the one that theirs that has been lost. At least, so at the very least, it equalizes out, or at best, actually added some.
It's like a multiple. It's like a 1.1% multiplier. It's always a little bit. Yeah, it's a little
bit more. It really makes me happy.
All right, let's get some super chats going, and then we're going to get started here.
I think the plot twist probably is that LiteratureDevil was behind the fall of Star Wars this entire time.
Yes,
yeah. I hired Rian Johnson. I own his soul. How do you think he got the reins to make movies in the first place? Seeing how horrible he is at it.
That's a very good question.
He made a deal with the devil.
I wouldn't disbelieve anything at this point with Star Wars. So it could happen. You never know. Oh. Here's John Lemley. Thank you, sir. I'm almost tempted to say that Movie Bob deserves all the awards ever because of how good his act is, but the best performance are always natural. Oh, I see. You're thinking ahead. See, that's why he's so good. Everything he does is off the cuff. He's a natural. He doesn't plan anything out. All his vocabulary is perfect. He's memorized every line. He doesn't have to put on an act. This is what Movie Bob's been building up to all his life. There's no rehearsal for Movie Bob. I don't know how he does it. I don't think anyone can ever emulate Movie Bob properly.
Maybe he's like one of those guys who, if he rehearsed for 100 hours in a row without rest, he would still not improve. So might as well just not rehearse.
You could be talking about how to bake Alaskan pie or something. It would be exactly the same. It wouldn't change.
I don't think he bakes things though. I think that would require work, so he just orders it or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah, obviously Diabito has to order his food.
For the common man, right? He's gotta keep that figure to the average fellow.
A Greek goddess figure that he has going on.
Yeah, he's got to keep up that McDonald's diet that he.
Divine, statuesque McDonald's figure.
No, he didn't say whether that diet was for him for that day or him for that week. I don't know. So
I wouldn't call it a diet. Let's just be right.
you could eat healthy at McDonald's. It's not impossible, but you wouldn't eat it all at once. You'd space it out within the month. So 12
I mean, that's just the
pounders.
regular American diet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Americans
Well,
eat.
yeah,
So.
average American eats in like
Yeah,
a
it's just
day.
an average American diet. It's not really all that diabetic. It's like, well, it is, but it's not really. It's not really specific to
Outlaw the
diabetes.
normal.
Yeah, it's not really specific to diabetes. I'm pretty sure you could eat more than that. That's probably your average American sit-down meal before he goes back to work.
So
and
what the
before
hell
dinner.
was Diabito eating before that then? If that's less.
I think that was right after they turned the grill on they kept it on for breakfast and lunch, so you could always have like an eggs McMuffin all day. So it's like, oh, breakfast all day. Just keep that maple syrup coming. Or what was it, Aunt Jemima? What do you guys have down there?
No, Aunt Jemima's gone away. It's too racist.
Oh, how about Uncle Ben's? You got Uncle Ben's stuff?
Uncle Ben's way too racist too. Get rid of all the African American icons in food because they're too racist now.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna get my rice. I can't get rice from China.
They're all got coronavirus.
Yeah, it's the beauty of America is that you can have breakfast any time of the day. That's America.
Is it?
Freedom.
I don't think that's freedom. That's. It's just breakfast. I mean, I could make an English breakfast anytime I wanted.
But can you have it made for you at any time?
Yeah, but we want a capitalist breakfast,
Look,
right?
I have respect for myself. I can make my own fucking English breakfast.
English breakfast is good, but it's not as good, apparently, of course, as American breakfast, which is
Burgers.
McDonald's.
Of course, it's hamburgers. Right?
Yeah, you can't get any more American than hamburgers, unless you, of course, eat pizza.
That's more Italian, though, isn't it?
No, we took it. We made it better.
You made this. We made this.
Take the Neapolitana style Italian pizza and then just make it twice as big, and that's New York style pizza. So it's
Well, Americans have no food regulations, so I can imagine
they have an FDA. It's just over. They just eat
it just has
twice as
very
much
little.
as everyone else.
I'll correct myself. They have very little food regulations compared to the rest of the world.
There's nutrition on this side. I don't know if anyone listens to it. Self-serving one. Okay, I'll eat it all then. All right, Dr. Crow, thank you, Sue. Won the copyright claims on my 12-hour live stream. Good going there, sir. Have some money to celebrate. Hey, you know what? That's a good way. Whenever you do well, I do well. Or rather, you just give me money. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works, but okay. Thank you anyway. It's nice of you. Yeah, I saw
Are you
some.
going to turn down money?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that, Dr. Crow had some streams going. He did some, I think it was some chats with Dunn. And was it Dunn? I think it was Dunn. Could be wrong. But yeah, they were going strong there. So, or did Dr. Crow come on Dunn's stream? I can't recall. It's one of those. Anyway. John,
Someone had a stream. That's what we know.
There was a stream, and definitely Dr. Crow was on it. So that was good. John Lemley, thank you again. Super Size Me 2, starring Robert Chipman. Too Bob, Too Fascist. Oh,
God,
that's brilliant. I love that.
That is too perfect.
Too bomb, too
I want a poster of like one hand with like two, not quarter pounders, but the full Big Macs with like 2 pounds of beef, and then I don't know. The other hand would be like a supersized whatever. I don't know what was it. 1 gallon of or 1 liter of pop, whatever you call it. What is it? Is it soda pop? Is it cola? What do you call it in the States? I don't know.
It depends on what part of the States you're at.
Oh.
It's everything, technically, if you include the entire United States. I think there's actually a map. I think it's actually someone made a map where what, depending on where you are, what it's called. So sometimes it's pop, sometimes it's soda or Coke.
Coke is always the household term for you're having something fizzy, but it's not necessarily Coca-Cola. Yeah. Anyway, we can go on about talking about food and drink, but
Damn, Smudge, you're just a food obsessed. Everything's about food. Your analogies are about food. Stream's now turning about food.
No,
That's why they're the best. That's why they're the best analogies.
no, we're just making analogy. We're just having fun. We're having thought experiments about food. We're not actually
Food
eating.
obsessed.
Yeah, I don't eat or drink aside from some water when I get thirsty or my throat starts breaking.
You don't eat or drink? You must be very hungry.
Not during the stream. I think I can't remember who it was last time who was eating and drinking. I was like, what the hell's going on? So there's a storm going on. You got someone bombing London. You're like, what the hell is going on?
It's a German.
The Germans?
Yeah. The
Fucking clankers again.
Those
COVID
viruses.
became the virus got legs and they're able to bomb London again.
Bombing them with food packages, yeah. From good old America, yeah. Here's Mad Courier 6. Thank you, sir. Do you think that a bad movie anime can be just as entertaining as a good one? Of course it can. For example, something that's just absolutely insane like Ari Fureta. Okay, if you read the manga, it's actually not too bad. Then it gets worse. So I don't know if that was as a result of the anime or what have you, because I think it was still ongoing. But when you look at the isekai genre, they take to be made into an anime the popular ones, not the cool ones, not the unique ones, not the perverted ones. They take just the one that everyone's reading, and then it gets thrown on the screen, and that's obviously a business decision. But I haven't seen one which is not like there's no business sense behind it. It's always like calculated. Like, okay, this has 20 million views. We're going to turn it into an anime. So, and I'm not an expert on understanding how manga gets translated to anime. I'm sure there's all sorts of studios and people shaking hands, but you can appreciate bad anime. That is true. And it's just the tropes that they use, especially in isekai, but I think even for rom-coms for anime, there's just so many high school kids romances. There's just before Sailor Moon was popular, it's always been that way. So, sure, you can enjoy it. Okay, Lieutenant Colonel Tanya von de Gurshoff. On the topic of Bob, movie Bob quiz when? Why? What? Why would we quiz? You guys want to quiz on movie Bob? Like, what does that mean? Do you want us to quiz each other, or do you want like to quiz movie Bob? I don't think I'd want to get movie Bob on here. I think he'd be kind of scary. If that's even
want
possible.
to start murdering people.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, if we ever mention anything political, the stream would be over. I'd be like, oh god,
A Booey Bob Holocaust. Like, just talking about,
God.
like he did that one video. It's like, oh yeah, we should have a nerd master race. It's that. Okay, Movie Bob, whatever you say.
We should murder the bullies and jocks.
That would derail the whole conversation, and I don't think that'd be comfortable.
Mean old bullies and jocks. Yeah, the mean old chads. Gotta get those guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could play like a Movie Bob bingo next time. I'm sure there's a bingo card of Movie Bob out there that we watch one of his videos. We just start.
Well,
filling
if
it
not,
in.
we can make one.
Oh, that'd be great. Hey guys, that's a good fun activity. If you want to make a Movie Bob bingo, that'd be great.
There's a LiteratureDevil bingo.
Oh, really?
Discord,
Yeah,
yeah.
there actually is. Yeah, Dr. Crow made it.
I've noticed some people playing it, and I even tried to play it once. I didn't win, unfortunately, but hey.
Well, you always when you win any bingo, you drink beforehand. You're always a winner if you have a good drink.
One of them was me saying fuckwit, so I purposely found an excuse to say it so I could get my little bingo tick.
I wonder
Another one is there's some interesting ones on there, like me dying in the middle of the stream. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that would be kind of
Right,
fun.
let me just disconnect LiteratureDevil, and there we go. That's another tick for me.
Even when he's fully fine, his internet's fine, he still has to disconnect himself on purpose. It's like, yeah, I got to do this.
I need to win this thing.
Well, that might be fun. I don't know if you guys want to do that, but hey, I'm all for it. Here's let me just scroll up here. Here's Mark in 3D. Thank you for the huffs. I love the huffs. From Chudcast to Foodcast. Well, I don't know. I don't think we could ever have a food cast. That'd be a very strange jump in people for my channel. I don't think they want to talk about food all day, especially when we have this weird pandemic thing where.
Well, I mean, everyone can relate to food.
Oh no, I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying that I garner the people who love gaming and media and movies, and I don't think it's the right. Like, I don't want to bore. Like, I'm going to lose people. Obviously, I don't want to bore people. Maybe on another channel I'd do that, but not.
Smud Food.
Yeah, that
new channel. Subscribe now.
Hey, I could do it. I have enough knowledge. I'd be happy to. But
if anything, I would like to see a video on how to make a low grade meat steak. Tastes like your Wagyu steak. That'd be interesting.
Oh, I buy a lot of steak, which is low grade or cheap, but because it's marinated, it's fantastically tasting, and you just have to cook it a little bit longer because of the grizzle. But chewable, totally edible, and depending on the shape, you can make a nice little well of heat, whether you're using a heat dryer or an air dryer, or you do convection. You can make a fantastically moist steak with whatever seasoning you like. It's great.
This has been a great day so far. This morning I got to talk with Graham Nolan about beer, IPAs and pills. It was fantastic.
Really?
And now we get to talk about
I would have loved to have joined that. Oh.
I didn't know. I didn't know he was a beer fan. I was like, it's fantastic. We saw his campaign. He actually had a perk that says "Buy me a beer," and I was like, that's Blue Moon. That's not a Bud Light or anything. That's Blue Moon. So I was like, are you into craft beer? I was like, are you a Blue Moon fan? And he knew his stuff. He knew his stuff.
I'm gonna say something now that you're probably gonna hate me for. Beer tastes like shit.
Well, I mean, you're obviously
but
wrong.
You're not from Ireland. You're not even Scottish. I mean, what do you know?
I mean, you're obviously wrong, but that's okay. People can be wrong.
You can be objectively wrong. It's fine.
You can be objectively wrong. You're free to be wrong. That's the whole thing we argue against. You know what I mean?
Well, allow me to enlighten you.
I anxiously await the knowledge of Shiny about beer.
No, but what's the? I'm trying to remember what some fuckwit said. It's like we always cover these videos where it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna hit some cold hard truths that change the way you think.
Oh, was that
Major League?
Guys?
Major League.
Major League, yes. Major League.
He starts every video like that.
It's like warning. This video contains the whole hard truth. Cold hard truths. I love it. I think I might use that one day. But yeah, cold hard truth is that beer is delicious. And it's
I was just using that example, but we always come across them where it's like it's really obnoxious and what's the other word?
Egotistical, pedantic.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to enlighten you.
Yes, a wise YouTuber of the wastes. Thank you, we found you. All this knowledge.
It's always better not to get drunk on it. But beers taste like the wine tasting stuff. You're not supposed to get drunk when you go wine tasting. Same way when you try out beer.
Well, with wine you spit. Like with beer you can keep drinking because it's not as strong alcohol. So.
Oh yeah. Well, some of the ones I've.
This is true. There's some strong ones. Yes.
Yeah. There's like the one I had a craft malt liquor one time.
Oh.
That was interesting. I will not do it again.
Mark in 3D is saying Shiny's opinion on beer and unbridled range. Is that the rage? That would just be me drinking it and spitting it out.
Give Shiny all the Russian Imperial stouts. Try that, Shiny.
I just don't think Shiny's will drink the right beer.
All of a sudden, my subscriber count just went from 200 to 10.
Well, because when I'm talking about I'm a beer fan, I've probably drinking over 1,000 different beers. Not 1,000 bottles of beer, but I mean like 1,000 different beers altogether.
Well, technically that would be 1,000 bottles if they're all different. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so.
That's more than me. I've had probably closer to 150, but we only get so many imports in Canada, and the beer scene is not as big as, let's say, Philadelphia or either really any part of the states. States have like twice as much selection.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't imagine this. It's fantastic. We used to go brewery hopping, not bar hopping, but brewery hopping.
Yeah.
It's these small micro breweries. It's interesting stuff. It's really good.
Anyway,
They
we're
were
getting off topic,
They were so
guys.
grateful. They were so grateful when you're there, so it's fantastic.
Okay, we'll have a beer talk later. Okay, let's get back to our super chats and we'll keep on going. Lieutenant Colonel Tanya von Drushev. Yojo Senki is great isekai. I highly recommend. I don't even know what that is. That an anime or a manga? I don't know. Again, I don't know the names of these things. I just read them all. So I probably have read it. And I'll just write that down and get back to you on that one. Here's me writing it down.
There was no evidence that he's writing it down.
All right, got it. No, I got it because I have to use push to talk, so I have to like stop touching the keyboard. Anywho. Okay, Bogue. Thank you, Bogue. How's it going, Bogue? You should do the full dive and make a Weeaboo cast. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think anime is.
No, I'm not being a part of that.
Anime is going to be a whole other. I mean, I'm not against anime. I like anime. I like manga, but
I have
selective.
a few. I watched a few. Maybe 10. I maybe watched 10 series, maybe altogether, all the way through. I mean, I've started to others, but all the way through, I maybe watched 10 all the way through.
Fuck weebs.
And also, we learned this morning that apparently in Japan, they have like a city-sized mall made for otakus.
Okay, I can believe that.
Yeah, it's Japan. I mean, it's weird, but Japan is weird.
There's so many places in Japan, let alone individual cities, but sections within those cities that have entire blocks dedicated to like the 70s or like fashion in the 80s or music in the 90s or what have you. And then there's like all the fandoms. And then there's like the kids, like imagine, I don't know if you know Anpan Man, but that's like a superhero for kids. He's basically
sounds familiar. I think I've heard of that guy before.
Yeah, he's basically a piece of bread. And all of his friends are superheroes as well, and there are other kinds of baked goods. It's really cute. And they made a theme park for him, and you could go around with your children if you want to visit Japan. It's kind of cute, yeah. But Anpan Man, great
Bagel
show.
Man.
Bagel, yeah, there's a bagel. There's a French, yeah, they have the really cool accents. It's great. In Japanese, of course. Okay, Dr. Crow, I'm not making that bingo. Aw, well, that's okay. Someone else will, or maybe we'll get around to it. But
Someone else get on it. Do it.
The Bob bingo.
Instead of bingo, it's just Bob. So it's just B-O-B. Much shorter bingo. Much easier. Like tic-tac-toe.
Reference to fascism. That'd be like the center one. Fascist reference in the middle.
It's one that's going to be in there somewhere.
Mad Courier 6, thank you again, sir. I second Bogue's motion. Really? You want to do a Weeaboo cast? Okay, well, if you guys are giving money, I'm guessing that's the will of the market. And you want to see a big conversation
we are
about
capitalists.
anime. Exactly. I mean, the market has spoken. I mean, we got to do this. I mean, that's how it goes.
I will have to probably expend all my anime knowledge, which is very limited. I have since learned. Okay, since joining the internet, I have a very limited anime pool of anime knowledge. So, but I will bring it all forth the table.
We could definitely consider it because I do have old 90s anime knowledge when I first started watching anime and reading manga. And I had a dry spell in the 2000s and I came back.
If we include Lone Wolf and Cub, if we include Lone Wolf and Cub, we got some conversations we can do.
Oh, that's manga conversations for sure, yeah.
Yeah, if we can include manga.
Oh, we should do Golgo. Golgo 13.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, you weeb.
Golgo 13 is not for weebs. Golgo 13 is for men.
That's for men. That's for the West. That is an anime made for Western men. Okay.
Yes. Oh, you like James Bond? Ha ha! Here's Golgo 13.
Golgo 13 will rip James Bond.
Destroy any super spy out there.
Okay.
Better than Bond. Better than Bourne. Just destroy them all. At the same time, probably. With one bullet, probably.
Uh-huh.
He's amazing. It's just... You can't stop him. He's impossible.
Weeb shit.
Okay.
I think he's literally a machine or something.
He's pretty much some sort of god or like a god. It's hard to describe him at times. When you think of manliness, you like Golgo 13. Yep, he's right there. What? No, you're dead. You saw him, you're dead. Sorry.
Doesn't he kill like 5 guys in half a second or something like that? Like it's so fast they needed to slow down a camera to see him shoot people.
Like he has to hire this specific guy to make a specific gun a certain way so he can kill people specifically. It's just ridiculous.
And for all you Trump haters out there, he even kills a Trump stand-in. His name is Crump, and he kills him in Crump Tower. So,
I thought you'd be against that.
no, but it's awesome. It's an awesome show, and it's ridiculous because the gun is made specifically so it can dissolve in soup.
What?
Yeah, it's an insane show. It's insane, but it's so
Okay, so I'm gonna stick with Star Wars Rebels. So you enjoy that. I think I'm gonna enjoy the thing that's probably gonna make more sense than that. Which Rebels doesn't make any fucking sense. So that's saying something.
Star Wars is science fiction. It still probably makes more sense than Golgo 13.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still amazing.
Golgo 13 is impossible. It's just like, what? Oh, he did that? Of course he did. Like, oh.
Somehow he just did it.
And he has time to go back to banging a stripper or whoever. It's like, what? Okay, I guess he's doing that now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just, and his face never changes. So it's just, it's like it's always on edge. It's really interesting. And I like the episodes because no matter how dramatic it ends, it always goes to that really exciting song at the end. It's like a video game.
Yeah, he's pretty much Mega Man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Lieutenant Colonel Tanya von de Gershoff. There's a quiz with quotes from Nazis and Movie Bob made for EFAP. Oh my goodness. You are supposed who the quote belongs to, Bob or actual Nazi. It's actually pretty hard. Okay, that's scary.
Oh god.
See, we were joking around of making an actual bingo for Bob. This is a real thing? Holy jeez.
It better be called that bingo for Bob.
Isn't it ironic all the people call you fascists or quoting Nazis?
Or like fascists themselves and pro-segregation and white man's burden. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Weird stuff, guys. Fun times. Okay.
It's the times we live in.
Yeah, well, if you're going to be against Nazis, you got to become one. I guess how it goes. You got to quote all the Nazis you know. That's when you're on the right track.
You've become the very thing you've sworn to destroy.
That's how you identify. You have to get... It's a wolf in sheep clothing. You may as well become the wolf in the first place, so...
So like the whole idea of like how the political spectrum's like a horseshoe, where it's kind of like the closer you get to the middle, the more centrist you are, the more sort of like libertarian you are, and like on each side as it goes up, and you start to become more right wing and left wing. It starts to become more authoritarian, and it eventually starts to meet in the middle. So I think what's happened is Bob is so far left. He's like gone to the top middle, and he's like now like really authoritarian, maybe actually going over to the right now. He's just kind of gone all the way over.
It was a straight line, and then Bob sat on it. Now it's a horseshoe.
Oh god.
So here's a super chat from Andrew Clark. I didn't know this, but take the movie Bob or Nazi quiz. Google it. Yeah, that's pretty much what Tanya was talking about. So thanks. I will Google that because I want to know what.
Maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do that for the morning nonsense.
Tomorrow morning for sure. Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow morning. That'd be great.
Yes.
Okay. So here's Changus Khan. Video's going to start an hour into the stream. Yeah, I do apologize, guys. I'm sorry about that.
Well, it's only 10 minutes long. How long could it take you to actually cover?
This will take at least an hour, yeah. Because our reactions are going to be golden, so. Bogue.
Depending on his takes or whatever, we'll see what happens.
They're pretty straightforward, yeah. Bogue. Golgo is just an isekai main character that came to Earth. It would make a lot of sense. He is totally beyond your expectation of what a super spy is, and then what a assassin is, and what a man does with his life. It's kind of strange. Okay, I think we're all caught up. Thanks, guys. We're definitely going to do that for tomorrow morning. That'd be fun. And let's get on with Mr. What's his name again? Joe Tufano.
You're probably wondering, why is this video in black and white? And why am I wearing nondescript clothing?
And why are you being overly dramatic?
Well, I'm just going to get right to the point. This has to do with the Star Wars fan base. There's a
Okay, so does that make any sense if your clothing changes and you film in black and white? And
I think it's because he's trying to set the mood. He's trying to say, "Look, I'm serious because I'm doing things in black and white and really moody color tones."
we'll give him that. It's just weird. It's like, hey, you know what? My next video, I'm gonna do it in sepia because I feel old. I like old photographs. Okay.
Reason why Star Wars isn't as fun to talk about anymore as it has been in the past. In the
Oh, I'm so offended. I can't talk about Star Wars being fun. Oh, the other people's opinions. Oh no. All right. I mean, that's how he's reacting. I mean, I guess we're working. Whatever we're doing is working. Yay.
We're debunking happiness, guys.
There we go. Yeah. Just the vacuum.
Which means I'm happy at the moment. Which means I'm really happy then.
last couple years since The Force Awakens, it's been, well, not really that exciting because the newer films have divided the fan base. Even if you...
Okay, so he's not excited about the films. He's not excited because the fan base is divided, which is strange because when I watch a film, I don't give a crap who's watching it next to me. I sort of enjoy it myself. So he's thinking about the little guy. He's thinking about the people, not his experience with Star Wars.
The people.
Would someone think of the children?
Would someone think of the fans?
Well, I think it did divide the fandom. It divided the fandom of between fans and creators of Star Wars at the moment. That's the divide it made.
I'll say that I'm not going to say someone's not a fan because they enjoyed the films because, I think it's more complicated than that.
Maybe he had a friend. He had a friend that watched the movie with him, and the friend was complaining or criticizing, and he didn't like that, and he felt bad because he wanted to have a good time with his friend. I think that's probably it. Because you can't just go to a movie and go, oh, you know the fans? Oh, they made me just hate the movie so much. Like, that doesn't happen. I'm sorry. If you love Star Wars, you love Star Wars. That's that. There's no one's going to change your mind. So apparently this guy's making a social commentary, either building up drama for the sake of it, or he actually had a bad experience with a friend.
I think that probably says more about his friendship than anything else. Because I've had disagreements with my friends about Star Wars. It never impacted our friendship.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, hey, look, I believe this about the film. Hey, well, I believe this about the film.
Now this is,
and then we had countless discussions about it.
Yeah, this is YouTube, so he could just be acting, and that's totally believable too. So
it's kind of egotistical. What's wrong with liking a bad movie? I don't think there's anything wrong with liking a bad movie, but they can't accept the fact they like a bad movie. It seems to be the one prevailing thing that I've seen from a lot of defenders, that they can't. Some people might say the prequels, they like the prequels, but they can acknowledge the prequels as faults.
Yeah.
Not so with The Last Jedi. I mean, not so with the sequel trilogy. With the people who love them, the movies are masterpieces and perfect. They can't acknowledge anything that's a flaw, or if they do, it's like very minor. It's overall, it's a masterpiece to them.
Yeah, we're not concerned with liking or disliking something. We're concerned with the arguments. We want to know why you like or dislike something. The same way when I watch a LiteratureDevil movie or video, I want to know why he criticized something. I don't, it's not just I hate it because I'm LiteratureDevil. It's like, no.
LiteratureDevil makes movies. I want to watch these films.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Vibe isn't really as fun anymore as it used to be. My pet peeve with Star Wars fandom has been going on since The Force Awakens, but truth be told, my breaking point arrived when The Last Jedi was released.
I imagine so.
Look, you dented my bat. Look at this.
How convenient.
Wait, what?
You are a worthless freaking piece of plastic. You're the worst thing I've ever seen in freaking Star Wars. You're the worst character. I hate your face.
Yeah.
I hate you, Daisy Ridley.
I mean, quite literally, it's a worthless piece of plastic. Do you know why? Because it's worth pennies now.
Yeah.
Do you know why it's worth pennies?
It's a worthless piece of
no
plastic.
one wants it. That's why.
Worthless piece of plastic shaped into the form of a worthless character.
So this guy's obviously upset. I think he's probably overreacting, saying, "Oh, I hate Daisy Ridley," and "Oh, I hate this." He's obviously upset because something he's very passionate about and something he's cared about has just been shat on.
Oh yeah.
So
did we go too far there with hating Daisy Ridley? But
I mean, Daisy Ridley's a bit of a bitch, but I'm not going to hold her character against her.
Not her fault. It's Rian Johnson's fault, which is why I always hate on Rian Johnson, or I always critique Rian Johnson.
Even then, I can separate the director from their work. So it's, say, George Lucas made some very bad films. I can separate those films and his work from him actual self. The problem is with Rian Johnson, he's an absolute cock and can't accept he's made a bad film.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, well, I've never heard a valid criticism of The Last Jedi. You're just a bunch of sexists. It's like, wait, what?
I always like the quote from Mark Hamill is, if I look good, it's Ryan. If I look bad, it's Ryan. So it's always, whatever the fault is, it's always Ryan's fault. So I'm just an actor. Please don't hurt me.
Freaking piece of garbage. I hope your career dies in 2020. Go screw yourselves, Disney. I hate you. I hate you.
I hated it. This movie took everything. I can
understand his anger,
yeah. So he's angry, and
I can understand their anger. I don't agree with all the things that they're saying, but I can understand their anger. I don't agree with them saying like, oh, it's all Daisy Ridley's fault or whatever it is, or she should have a career ruined. I don't think that's right. That's not exactly where you should be going. But again, I do understand the anger because, as Henry Cavill said, these fans are very passionate fans. And when you spit on something that they love or have spent so much time loving, you're going to get a reaction like this. You can't like this. You can't just overlook a reaction like this if you're going to spit on something that they love or tear it down or outright kill it like you did with Luke Skywalker.
You also have to remember that this is when people are angry and upset, they often say things which they don't really mean. So like you're not gonna, you say things you don't really mean, and you say things out of anger when you're upset.
No, yeah, that's why I understand his anger. I understand his anger. I was like to point out that in rationality, you shouldn't. Her career, she doesn't deserve her career to be ruined. That's
no one deserves to have their job.
No.
Ruined.
No, except Rian Johnson, but for the most part,
no, I don't even think his career should be ruined. I just think he shouldn't be given fucking Star Wars.
No, I know it was a joke, but
no. You can say that because you're the devil. You thrive on happiness.
Oh yeah, I would thrive on his misery.
You're evil.
Go ahead and fire him. I'll be happy. But yeah, they really shouldn't. None of the actors, for that matter, should have their careers ruined. Not John Boyega. Not Kelly Marie Trent. No, none of the actors have the careers ruined over this. It's really more. It wasn't. They're just doing the best with what they had. Rian Johnson and the writers behind these works are pretty much more to blame. I would say infinitely more to blame than the actual actors were.
Agreed.
Yeah, these are fans just being a reaction to, or having a bad reaction, and they just blame whoever they like because they don't know who to blame yet.
When people are angry, they don't direct that anger well.
Right. They
just say, okay, I'm just going to blame whoever I think's at fault.
Yes, perfectly natural, irrational behavior. Happens to all of us. It's, especially in the fandoms, you get over it.
You like about Star Wars, that you love about Star Wars, that you thought you knew about Star Wars, and it on it, and on it again, and then it sets it on fire.
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, that's actually what happened. So
he's not wrong. It's exactly what happened. Yeah, it is Rian Johnson has pulled on his pants and has let loose all of his excrement on Star Wars and expected us to love it.
Yeah, nihilism is not the answer, folks. Okay, just so you know, writing is not about nothing. It's about actually something. So
I've seen writers put in nihilism in the story before, but it's usually done by the villain or preached by the guy that nobody likes. Like House is a nihilist, but nobody likes House. Like people put up with him because he's a really good doctor, which cures people. But he's portrayed as a miserable man that very few people like, except for maybe Wilson. Maybe Wilson. 65% of the time he likes him.
Yep, that's pretty close. Great show, by the way.
Yeah, I love House. House is fantastic.
And then it's on it again.
And I'm not hating on this because I don't like where they were taking it. I'm just hating on it because so much of it was just poorly thought out and poorly written.
I honestly...
That was pretty fair from Roz in Toronto. He's a great media critic. Yeah. Well, he's part of a radio show. He also does Entertainment Tonight there. It's Roz. Okay. Roz in the Morning with Maka. So, yeah. I always liked that guy. Anyway.
Hey, look, it's a Whammon.
Oh no!
I thought they couldn't be. I thought Whammon couldn't hate these films.
It's called internalized misogyny.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, she's white, so you know.
Feel like I could have wrote a better movie. Like, what the was that?
Are people reactions to the Star Wars prequels?
Star Wars The Phantom Menace was the most disappointing thing since my son. I mean, how much more could you possibly f*** up the entire backstory to Star Wars? Nothing in The Phantom Menace makes any sense at all. It comes off like a script written by an 8-year-old.
I think I deserve a public apology from George Lucas.
I imagine George in a crystal castle drinking margaritas, lying on a bed made of people.
A lot of people view George Lucas
I think that's
as the Antichrist.
I think that's a comedy piss take.
In a crystal castle drinking margaritas, lying on a bed made of people.
Oh, I love that. I want, where did he find that? I want that clip. I want that clip. Drinking margaritas, lying in a bed made of people.
So I do know there are like these comedy programs where they kind of retell history in like a comedic fashion. I don't know if it's possibly that or something similar, but I don't think that's like an actual serious fan reaction. It's too well framed. Like this is not this is not a fan who's came home and this is someone who obviously has a bit of professionalism.
I was expecting to have Mauler in here somewhere because Mauler's like one of the premier critics of the sequel trilogy. But then again, that would require him to actually watch Mauler.
No, but Mauler's actually not actually that hateful.
No, he's not. He's not. He's very logical. Yeah.
Mm.
But he does throw some tiny insults in there. So I would expect him to like nitpick this sort of stuff. But that would require him to watch Mauler. I don't think he's going to do that.
That would also require intelligence, which I'm sure he doesn't.
As far as I've seen, a lot of critics from Mauler's critics don't actually watch his videos. I don't think so. They just complain about how long they are.
Yeah, that's the only valid criticism. Oh, they're long.
It would be really funny if Mauler decided to have like his 2-hour whatever videos and break them down to 5-hour chunks and release them like every week. So people could actually watch them. Oh yeah, I could. Well, he's not that long.
I thought like he did do that, doesn't he? Like some of it, like his the Last Jedi thing and the Force Awakens, they were broken down into a couple-hour videos.
Well, they're still hour videos. I mean, something a little more.
You said, wait, you meant something
consumable.
That was 5 hours and cut it into something. Okay, I get it.
Just for the average viewer, take all of his points. You could probably do that. Obviously, you'd be missing a lot of detail, but you could probably.
I kind of prefer the longer videos because then you don't have to keep clicking on the links. If you really need to, you can just come back to the video later, and that's what I usually do. Because obviously, the thing about YouTube is it saves your time when you're watching it, so you could always just come back.
This is true.
True, all of it.
A lot of people view George Lucas as the Antichrist.
Has he fulfilled his destiny or has he destroyed his legacy?
Okay, that's actually like a legitimate thing that I don't like. So I think that is far too extreme with the kind of "Rape My Childhood" song. that is kind of where I draw the line of like understand, because that was something I believe George Lucas was particularly upset about. He referenced that before.
Oh, the whole childhood thing.
Was this from the documentary?
Raping.
The documentary of the People versus George Lucas?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just curious.
But I just know he kind of George Lucas pointed out like that was something which really kind of upset him, and he was pissed off about. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty upsetting, I guess. If you
so again, from both sides, I understand. I think that they took it too far, but I do understand how these people were feeling when they obviously watched the prequels. It's like, hey, this is shit. Little did they know that it could have been much, much worse. Well, yeah, if these people didn't like go so extreme with their reactions, they wouldn't have. George Lucas wouldn't have got upset and sold it to fucking Disney. And we would have had a sequel trilogy developed by George Lucas, because the only reason why there isn't a sequel trilogy developed by George Lucas was because after the prequels, he didn't believe that it would be well received.
Yeah. People see George Lucas as the Antichrist. Wow. Wow, that's pretty extreme. That's pretty extreme, I have to say.
I think he's like a very, like, some people have like some very, he's very polarizing. So some people love him and some people hate him. Not not a lot of people kind of. Some people blame him for the prequels, while some kind of can separate the prequels from George Lucas.
Just ask him for ideas, but don't ask him to write any of them. Just ask him for generalizations and stuff. But here's the thing about George Lucas. He's a lot better. The prequel series was a lot better than the sequel series, and the reason for being is because he actually is passionate about his project. He actually is passionate about Star Wars. And that's one thing you don't see in the sequel series is passion. It's like the heart. It's like he's missing his heart and soul.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, even when he was doing the prequels, you can see, even if he was like trying to sell toys or whatever, which is understandable, George Lucas was at least passionate about Star Wars, and you can see that in the prequels. Now, it wasn't nearly as good as it could have been, but it was. You could see the passion in there regardless.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least the ideas as well that are currently there. Like, the ideas come from, like, some of them are good ideas, just they're not well executed.
The writing obviously took a hit in some capacity for some reason we don't know.
Especially dialogue.
At least,
don't
yes.
like sand, it's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere.
That's one of the
just don't have him write dialogue. I mean, especially not romantic. Don't have him write romantic dialogue. I don't know. Just send him off to a vacation or something while the writers write the romantic stuff, so he won't be tempted.
Oh, I'm in pain. Oh, I'm in pain too. This is going to destroy us. Tell me more about sand. Oh god, it was even worse when I rewatched like Attack of the Clones for like Glib stream. Like it wasn't as bad as I remember, while other parts were like worse than I remembered. Like the romance, I don't remember the romance being as bad as it was.
No, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
God, like I knew it was bad, but that oh fuck me,
Is it a grade schoolers version of trying to?
You kind of try to forget about it and just force it out your mind. Like, okay, no, I'm not gonna. No, don't think about it. Don't remember it. No.
It's like a grade schooler's, attempt at copying Shakespeare. That's kind of what it was like.
What the fuck is his idea of love? That's my question.
This is an interesting thing, because he could have easily hired writers to do. Hey, I want you to do the love concept in the story. Can you write just that? I want you to write the adventure. Can you do like he could easily have hired a writer per scene, and they would.
I don't think George Lucas understands that he can't write. I don't think he knew that.
I was going to say he can't understand love.
I don't think he understood that he can't write love either. I can't express just how much he seems to misunderstand. Like, he's been married before, before he wrote the prequels. How did he not understand love?
Well, he's also been divorced before, so
that is true. It's like, love isn't fucking painful. I mean, it can be when you miss each other, but they barely fucking know each other, and it's like, oh, I've been in pain since I saw you again. It's like, that's not what love is. I'd believe it more if you said, oh, I've been in pain when you left. It's like say, for example, the only time I can think of pain in a relationship is when you either A, get into an argument, B, break up, or C, have to be away from each other. So, like, if Anakin had to go to war and, like, Padme had to stay behind, I could understand, like, oh, I've been in pain since you left. Then maybe don't write it so dramatic, because obviously that's not... like, Padme wouldn't come out and say, oh, I'm in pain. I'm in such terrible pain since you left.
This is where I wish we can quote Tommy Wiseau, but, we don't do that here.
Hi, hi, Obi. How's your sex life? It's a shame you don't have anyone, and I have Padme.
Oh, Joe Crazy, thank you, sir. What's worse?
Do you understand live?
Do you? What's worse, Anakin Padme or Rey Ren? Oh dear.
Rey Ren. Rey Ren.
Anakin and Padme was actually a stat. Well, I mean,
I wanted Anakin and Padme to be together. I want Rey and Ren never to be together ever. Not even in the afterlife.
Well, they were together for about 20 seconds.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Canonically, they were.
And then he died.
If you go by the novel, they weren't in love.
They weren't. It was a kiss of gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring that up every single time so that we can make sure that Reylo is buried and dead. Okay, forever.
The thing about Anakin and Padme, that's actually something written within the story. It's something they establish. Rey and Ren are not established within the story. They're just kiss. Oh, I guess they're together. Oh, he's dying now. Oh. He's dead.
He's dying now. He's dying now.
Scripted death scene in 3, 2. There we go. Okay.
Why does he die? Who knows?
And all this time, we could have had Finn as the main character, like the guy with the most interesting backstory and setup. But no, we have to get Rey and Kylo. Awesome.
Because they're such wonderful characters. Rey, who's just always perfect, and Kylo, who doesn't know what he's doing. He's just constantly jumping around. It's great. Great characters. One's completely spastic, the other one's just straight as an arrow, perfect in every way.
As far as I've seen the entire sequel trilogy, and as far as I've seen, I don't think any character knows what they're doing. Not one. Nobody. Not Snoke. Not Holdo. Not definitely not Palpatine. I don't know what he was doing. He just spouted stuff off because it sounded cool. He didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, it kind of sucks when the plot, I mean the plan, if you want to call it the plot, is hidden from us. We're like, what is Holdo doing? We don't know. We're just running away. It's like, oh, okay, so you are still, that is the plan, running away. You're just running to that planet. Oh, and then you're running away from the planet. It's like, that's it. You're just running. That's the whole plot.
They're just scared. Okay, they're just scared, my boys.
Exactly. They're just scared. What do? We run away. Okay. Get in the ship. Okay. Get in the other ship. Okay.
It's all the good guys' motivation. They're all just scared. Everyone, in fact, it's the bad guys' motivation too. They're all just scared. Everyone was just scared of the sequel trilogy.
That's true. Yeah, Kylo's scared of Snoke, and Rey is scared of everything. Herself, the dark side, the light side, Kylo, Snoke as well. Luke is scared of everything.
Who's this Holdo woman? No one's invested in her. Who is she? Yeah, that's basically what everyone was saying. Why isn't it Admiral Ackbar?
I love the voice actor of Admiral Ackbar coming out and saying that.
No, it was wonderful. But going by the trajectory of how everyone is written, I'm pretty sure Admiral Ackbar didn't lead the actual fleet, even though he was there, because they didn't want him to, because he was scared. I'm pretty sure he was scared. Holdo's the one who was scared.
I love the fan reaction to like them killing Admiral Ackbar. Like everyone fucking hated it. Like the way they just blow him out the fucking airlock.
There's a great example. If we want to talk, because we've been doing a lot of Last of Us 2 this past few weeks because of the game and coming out. When you disrespect a character that people like, you're gonna piss people off. You have to send them off in a certain way, and there's ways to do it respectfully, so that you can appreciate the last moments of how they die, and you can do that in a story.
I think if the ending for Admiral Ackbar was that he piloted the Radus into he used the ship to actually shield the ships from actually being fired at, and he died sacrificing his life so everyone else could live.
It would explain.
It's like, people would love that. That'd be so fucking emotional. Like Admiral Ackbar going down in like the ships, the shields go down.
Remember
like the ships being blown up and destroyed.
Remember the episode in DS9?
Final moments are like him trying to save the Resistance.
Remember the episode in DS9 where Core is he goes off on his own with a skeleton crew on the ship to hold back Jemadar? It was gonna be like that. It was just fine. That's how you treat a legacy character. If you're gonna kill him and have him go out in a blaze of glory doing the impossible. There should have been the Ackbar maneuver. Okay, there should be no Holdo maneuver.
They didn't even believe it would work. It was just their best hope. and like fucking core.
And as you know,
all the Jemadar ships.
And as you know, hope is like the sun. Okay.
No. Hope is like the sun. It comes up twice a day.
It burns your eyes if you look at it too much.
If you look directly into hope, it fucking blinds you. I guess you always say that as well. It's like, yeah, if you do nothing but look at hope, then you're kind of fucked and you're blind.
As we all know, hope is like the sun. It gives you skin cancer.
Something, yeah, you shouldn't put all your faith into hope. It's like, what hope? What are we supposed to put your hope into? It's like, okay, I need something to put my hope into, and you've given us nothing. It's like, I guess what she's saying more is faith and trust rather than hope. But why would we have faith and trust in someone we don't know and don't care about, and is kind of antagonizing the character we're seeing from their perspective to the point where people think she's a fucking traitor and a spy? People legitimately believe she was a traitor and a spy because of how she was acting.
Yeah, I see all these things that we thought are real aren't, because that was the point of the movie.
You know what Admiral Ackbar should have done? He should have, came through, like, Holdo should have been a spy, she was holding someone captive, and then Admiral Ackbar just kind of comes through he swims through space, he comes through the airlock, and he fucking knocks her out. So just whispers in her ear, like, it was a trap.
He's just awesome, like, Rambo character.
Well, he was a captain in the military before he became an admiral.
That'd be cool, Last Stand. Remember Rambo in the first movie versus the cops, be like that. He's hiding in mud and making Vietnam traps and stuff. That'd be awesome way for Admiral Ackbar to go out.
I think was it myself? Yeah, I think I did write some stories with Admiral in my. It was on my channel. I think I did that, where I had him go a little bit Rambo, on in episode 8, the rewrite. Everyone does a rewrite. Either it was myself or someone else. We wrote a story where Ackbar goes a bit Rambo.
You should read that one. Make that into like an audiobook.
We want to have Ackbar be heroic if he's going to die. So why not? And it makes sense. We like our heroes to be victorious and sacrificial. So always nice to see the hero win, even in death.
I want to see a badass Admiral Ackbar now. I want to see him fucking...
Yes.
Like, this was such an opportunity to have him actually do something, because, like, in canon, the only few times he's actually doing anything is the Battle of Endor. That's about it. And Clone Wars as well. He was in Clone Wars for a small part.
Yeah, all these loved characters that just are gone because Rian Johnson
blew him out of fucking hell.
Yeah.
Sacrifice on the altar of ego.
A great meme generator. It's like people love Admiral Ackbar not because he's a great character, because he creates memes. Well,
Focus our fire on the meme generator.
It's a trap. That's a classic. No, everyone loves that.
All right, let's keep on going, gentlemen.
Trap detect. I mean, you're never going to get a... No one's going to trap you while Admiral Ackbar's around.
No. He'd see it coming.
Creeper Weirdo says Admiral Rambo. There we go.
Here's a Taker 610. Yo, Smud, you going to do EFAP 100? Being too long, bro. They haven't contacted me. I don't know what's going on. All up to the gents over on EFAP.
Going there.
Yeah, I haven't watching their EFAP streams. I don't know what they're up to, but that's how it goes. They want me, I'll come. No big deal. Anywho, let's keep it.
If you're watching, I'm on Discord. Give me a call. Not that I think I can survive EFAP. It's too long.
It is a mission. Yeah, you have to take your time with that.
George Lucas raped our childhood. The song George Lucas raped our childhood was stupid then, and it's stupid now. But now, with newer films coming out, people are looking back with rose-colored glasses and now saying that the Star Wars prequels are actually legitimately good movies. Now,
it's kind of like it's irrelevant.
I'm not saying
I wouldn't say that at all. I wouldn't say they're legitimately good movies, but they are better than the sequels.
It's all relative, and people are saying they're better because they are better. I mean, they're not perfect, they're not great, they're better. Like we kind of see, okay, look, this is a really bad Star Wars film. Maybe this wasn't so bad after all. It's like when someone punches you, and it's like, ow, that fucking hurt, and then you're upset about that, and then someone fucking mugs you, and or someone stabs you. It's like, well, maybe I don't care about the punch so much because the stabbing is much worse. Very strange example. I know. It's all relative. That's my point.
Exactly.
Getting punched in the face actually isn't all that bad. Actually, getting stabbed is way worse.
Oh yeah, it is quite deadly, in fact.
For myself, they have their moments. As movies, I don't really think they quite get Star Wars. Still, the various fan reactions at the time were pretty negative, and I guarantee you that if social media was around back then in 1999, 2002, and 2005, it would be the exact same thing that we're seeing today.
Okay, so he's saying he didn't like the films too much either, but the fans were all emotional and angry about it. So it's like, but you have the same opinions. The difference is the reaction.
Yeah, that's what happens when, like I said, Henry Cavill said, these fans are passionate. You have to take that into account.
So I'm not seeing his argument saying, well, they're just being human and emotional. It's like, yeah, and what's wrong with that? You both share the same opinion. I can't, like, if we both like something and you really, really like something, I'm like, yeah, I like it. We both share the same opinion. You're just being more emotional and exuberant about it. That's fine. But we share the same opinion. So why can't he respect that? I don't get it.
And prequels are still bad. Okay,
Yeah.
They're not suddenly okay or good movies because the sequels. They're still bad. Just happen to be better than the sequels.
You know that comment where you said, I'd rather get shot in the head than do this, or I'd rather do this than that? It's like, yeah, you would.
You know how in movies they pair up the main character with like a frumpy or a best friend or something? It's like that. And so the main character looks better because they're next to the intentionally frumpier, fatter, or traditionally more unattractive best friend.
Right, like Gaston.
It's like that. So the prequels are the ugly main character, whatever you want to call them, or something, because the main characters in these movies are usually supposed to be like unattractive, and until they take off their glasses and lift out in their ponytail or something, the usual tropes, and then their best friend is supposed to make them look a little bit better, while being in their quote unquote ugly state. Now the prequels are like that. So the sequels are like the fat frumpy best friend. And now the prequels look way better in comparison.
And yet, people are looking back on those three movies and acting like they were actually good. Well, the prequels were actually a good story by George Lucas, and they were well told. The newer films are the ones that ruined the Star Wars franchise.
They weren't
not
well
the
told.
prequels. And with the various reactions that we're seeing from the newer films, The Last Jedi, as I said, was my breaking point, almost to the point where I couldn't even stand talking about Star Wars anymore, and I didn't even bother to watch a Star Wars.
But like, all the conversations around Star Wars aren't all to do with The Last Jedi. They're not all to do about the Rise of Skywalker. They're not all about The Force Awakens. I've had plenty of conversations with Star Wars fans where we don't even talk about the sequels. We never even mention them.
Isn't that standard operation now? We don't talk about the sequels.
Yeah.
Rule 1, we don't talk about the sequels. Rule 2, we don't talk about the sequels.
I've been in groups where but we all have differing opinions on the sequels, but like we respect each other, like and what each other believe, that we're not going to belittle each other, or think that one of us is a Nazi or a horrible person. And it's like we often just talk about anything else. We talk about Clone Wars. Clone Wars Season 7 came out early this year. Like fans all over were talking about that rather than Rise of Skywalker or anything else. Or Mandalorian. Mandalorian also took over like a lot of fan conversations. Like, there's so many things which fans talk about. Fans, even to this day, still talk about the original trilogy. They still talk about Empire Strikes Back. I've had many conversations with people about Empire Strikes Back. Hell, 2 weeks ago, I was talking to someone I knew about Empire Strikes Back, where we were debating some aspects of it. I can't remember the specifics, but we were just saying, oh, well, maybe that aspect could have been improved upon, and this, that, and the other. There's anything else. There's so many things. it's not just this. He's making it out like, oh, this is only what fans are talking about. This is all that fans are obsessed about. Woe is me. Think of the children.
Now, in this guy's defense, if he is encountering fans that are saying that suddenly the prequels are great movies or well-written movies because the sequels are so bad, well, I mean, those guys are obviously wrong. This became, like I said, because the sequels came out doesn't mean the prequels are suddenly redeemed or anything. These happen to be better in comparison. So, in his defense, the people he's complaining about are legitimately in the wrong there, considering the people that he's talking about being the ones that are saying now that the prequels were good movies because the sequels came out.
I think
those people would be in the wrong.
I think he's intelligent enough to get that, though. I think we know that he's not dumb. Like, he's not like, oh, no, they're suddenly good. Maybe he heard that literally, but he doesn't actually think that. Like, come on, that's kind of silly.
Yeah, that is very silly. It is very silly.
That's just silly.
Yeah, it is very silly. They're not good just because the sequels came out. The prequels are still not good, okay? But they're better. They're just better than the sequels.
Just fucking better than you.
I mean, at the very least, the sequels didn't feel like they insulted you to your face like The Last Jedi does.
Yeah, they're just kind of terribly written. It's not like Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan actually, purposely tried to fuck off the fans.
Yeah, something like that. So, the Last Jedi felt outright hostile to fans, while the prequel trilogy, all three of the movies were badly written and badly constructed, but they weren't hostile to the fans. They were just your typical average bad movies.
They weren't inhospitable.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly.
Because I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to get any single negative point out of my head while watching them. And even with the original trilogy, they somehow hold up on a pedestal like it's the second coming of Jesus.
What, so he doesn't talk to fans because he can't, those would be stuck in his head while watching a film? Is that what you're saying?
To me, it sounds like he is actually a fan, but he's reacting the same way fans would, just after listening to the fans being so too emotional or too reactive. And he's like, whoa, why are you being so negative? Why can't you just be moderate like me? Like, okay, you're obviously very sensitive about someone else's opinion. So what's the big deal?
So what's the matter with you?
Give me an argument. Why is it so bad that people are angry or clamoring over something they're passionate about? You could pick tennis. You could pick backgammon. I don't care. Pick a topic. You're going to get passionate people. Maybe not backgammon.
That's a low point for a man.
I guarantee you that if they were to come out today, they would probably be under the same level of scrutiny that they're putting the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy and the spin-offs.
Oh, for sure. Today, anything comes out today, it's going to be
the original trilogy.
Well, yeah.
So, and is he saying the original trilogy would be just under as much scrutiny as the sequels?
Well, because of today, because we have all this social media and analysis, we live in the digital age, we get data a lot quicker. Obviously, communication is going to happen a lot faster.
Yeah, but he's talking about criticism and reaction. But the thing is, the thing is, you have to remember about fan reaction is it comes from passion. So for a start, New Hope isn't, if it came out today, there'll be no fan base, because obviously the New Hope is what started the fan base, and the New Hope isn't coming in and trashing anything from that existing fan base. And A New Hope is an actually well-written film. I mean, there's some things which have aged a bit iffy, like I don't know, like the idea of it's kind of very 80s, Star Wars, right? It's I don't know how to quite describe it because I'd have to be very specific, especially making arguments like this. But all other elements wouldn't have aged as well because standards would have changed. But I don't think people would treat A New Hope if it came out today like The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty obvious that these are two different quality standards for stories in the same genre. So it's
not just nostalgia which stops us from looking at it. But it's such a weird thing. Like, it's the same argument Rian Johnson tried to make. Rian Johnson tried to say, oh, well, if Empire Strikes Back came out today, then imagine the reaction. Back then, everyone hated Empire Strikes Back, despite the fact it was re-released in cinemas 5 times and made some, a fuck ton of money, and was everyone was talking about it. But apparently that only became popular in the 90s.
I think Hello Greedo made a video about that recently. I haven't seen it yet though. About
never watch a Hello Greedo video.
Yeah, I'm not interested too much, but it was like, oh, okay, we could cover that, but I'm like, it's kind of Hello Greedo is kind of like AT-AT Chan, only a little crazier. I'm not a fan. Like, obviously, we don't listen to these guys too often, but someone posted, it was like, I don't know.
It's a myth that was started by Rian Johnson, and people have just started spreading it. It's like the idea that Empire Strikes Back. Well, either if Empire Strikes Back came out today, it would be hated, or if Empire Strikes Back, when it did come out, was hated and had the same backlash as The Last Jedi. Or like, pulling the original trilogy into this to say, oh well, if this, that, and the other, then the original trilogy would have been perceived the same.
Right, and I'm sure there are all sorts of critics who like and dislike any movie that you'll be able to find, and they'll have arguments that are fine. So it's not that it's going to be a big deal, but we're looking at the fan reaction, and why do the fans think this way? That is what's more important. Nowadays, critics are a dime a dozen, and they are not accurate. They're not using critical thinking skills, or if they are, they're using with their own biases.
Critical thinking skills.
Yeah, well, they're highly, highly political. In case you can't read between the lines, most of the blogs you read out there, whether it's a gaming blog or a news blog or a tech blog, they've got this slant, and it just supersedes all of their other ways of thinking, which is ridiculous. And you have to sort of accept that with fashion magazines or travel stories or whatever. It's always there. And maybe that's an American thing, I don't know. But I've seen it also in Canada or North America. Not so much in Europe. Not so much in Japan. They seem pretty objective with their criticism. Probably because they're bombarded with so much information, especially gaming. That's why I love IGN Japan. If you read anything from IGN Japan, those guys are so hardcore. Like, oh, this graphics are comparable to this game from '97. You're like, really? Wow, this guy knows his stuff. So, and they're really, really hardcore on the actual Japanese games.
Japan has been pretty based recently. They've been staying, objective and truthful, as opposed to bending the knee to Naughty Dog or whatever it is.
Here's a super chat from Mike Testa. Thank you, sir. Watch Shafrilla's ranking the 9 film scores, please. Who the heck is Shafrilla? Does anyone know? I'm just writing this down so I can check it out. Got my homework. You guys always give me homework every time we chat. It's kind of read this, watch this. What do you think of that? Get this online. Okay. I don't mind it. Just, wow, giving you lots of homework these days. Okay, keep on going, guys.
And this is coming from a guy who actually thought The Force Awakens was a great return for the franchise. And yet there's so many people out there that think it's actually a bad movie because it's too derivative of a new
Because
movie.
it is.
It is a bad movie.
That is a very valid criticism. It's a very valid criticism.
There's a reason why people think it's a bad movie, because it is a bad movie.
We could argue that the prequels, as badly done as they were, are original. It's totally George's idea, and there's nothing comparable to them. Now,
yeah, like I always say, the prequel series is not just Empire versus Rebellion again. It's a new Star Wars, but it's a different scenario.
It's a Republic versus separate. Well, at least for most of it, it's Republic versus Separatists, and it's 2 military forces actually going head to head, rather than a hissy fucking dog gorilla fight. It's like comparing World War II to the Vietnam War, like the 2 very separate things. It's very different warfares.
I'm just reading some comments. Apparently, the YouTuber who's ranking the 9 films has a crab from Mona as his profile pic. I don't know what that implies, unless he also criticizes Disney or Pixar films. But okay, I mean, I'm up for a good old critical analysis of ranking. I like people when they do that and give us reasons why. this movie or this game is better than that game or this story. Always fun to see someone's criteria, see how that works. Always good arguments to have when you start enumerating things and put them into lists. I think that's a sign of contemplating quality and clarifying your thoughts. So whether this person is objective or subjective makes no difference, as long as they can understand what they're doing and can argue their points. I think that's fine.
Saw the originals and went, I love the originals. People saw the prequels and said, I wish they were more like the originals. Now people are seeing Force Awakens and saying, that's too much like the originals. Make up your damn minds.
And the studio heard you, and they decided to make a movie.
No. J.J. Abrams was like, I don't know what to do. Let's just do episode 4.
We wanted to be like the originals, not literally, okay, not just a copy and paste, because guess what? We already have the originals. We can go back and watch that. We just want to watch a rehash, okay? And the originals were better.
It's just rehashing the exact same plot. And that's the problem. No one was asking for the exact same plot. No one was asking you to redo the exact, beat by beat, the exact same conflict.
Okay, I'm just reading.
Thought that's ridiculous, okay? No one told you to do that. No one wanted you to do that.
Okay, wait a second. Ben Shapiro has a ranking of the Star Wars films. When was this? Holy shit.
I can't remember what the order was.
I remember that. Rogue One got pretty high up there.
Ben Shapiro, really? Seriously? Oh my goodness.
Wrong.
That's awesome. I didn't know he was such a big movie buff.
Yeah, he does like I think he does like Star Wars. He's mentioned it on 4 of his show from clips I've seen.
I good to know.
I don't, just so people, I don't follow Ben Shapiro. I just know that he did. I've seen clips of him talking about Star Wars.
Here's a still laughing over that. Taker 610, thank you, sir. Too bad Irvin Kershner never lived to see TLJ, so we could tell Ryan to piss off and to never utter the words Empire and TLJ in the same breath. Yeah, well, I don't know how he got authority. I wish I knew how he was given authority to make a movie, why he was chosen, why they gave him so much money, so much time. It's like some random like golden ticket winner from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's like you're just eating your lunch and all of a sudden, boom! I'm making a Star Wars movie. It's hard to believe.
You didn't ask for this. You didn't choose this, but here it is.
You're working for the fascist regime.
You're working for fascist Disney.
In The Last Jedi that went in the complete opposite direction. Some fans accepted it, but a lot of fans screamed to the high heavens.
I don't think The Last Jedi is the opposite direction. I think it's no direction. I think there's nothing about it that screams to me Star Wars.
Like he's trying to say like they actually cared and were responding to us. It's like, no, that's not what they were doing at all. It's like that Rian Johnson was just doing his own thing. He wasn't listening to anyone. He was looking at the meta and saying, how can I do anything else than what people think I'm going to do? Or at least what they're theorizing.
You know what Star Wars should be nowadays? This is how standards are so low. Have some lightsabers, have some Jedi and Sith fighting, have some spaceships, and don't do nihilism. You'll be fine. Okay? That's it.
Unless nihilism is being viewed as the villain and wrong.
Sure.
Then you can do nihilism.
If you're directly saying, life is meaningless, kill everything, great, that's a villain. We can work with that. But not.
That's the aspect of your good guys. You're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, you could do a really crazy anti-hero. That could work. Like Owlman from what is that? Not JLA. It was definitely a Batman.
You mean Watchmen? Oh, yeah. But they were villains. They were kind of villains in their own world. I think it was Crisis on Infinite Earth or something like that.
Yeah, there's like Superwoman and there's all these other heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was Owlman and in the cartoon I think it was played by James Woods.
Oh really?
And yeah. But he was a bad guy. Like he was a villain. So
yeah. He was brutal.
Yeah. So nihilism, even though he's a hero in his world, he's a villain overall.
Kind of think of like I was thinking of The Authority, that old comic, The Midnighter. He's basically if Batman was a sadist and had a supercomputer in his brain that can predict all the possibilities of someone attacking him, and he tortures people, and he has a homosexual relationship with Superman or Apollo. That's their like the Authority is such a cool comic that it just breaks so many like convention. Like, oh, he kills people. Oh, okay. He just outright murders them. Like, okay, superheroes, great.
Sounds interesting.
Oh,
Never heard of that comic actually.
The Authority is it's I think geez, who the hell wrote it? I'm trying to remember. It wasn't JMS. He did Rising Stars. Anyway, I can't recall. I'll bring it up later.
This movie sucks. It's not like Star Wars. Then fast forward about a few months later to the Han Solo movie, where the reaction
Isn't there such a great understanding of
average?
Like, he has a terrible understanding of reaction to this film. It's like filming it down to, oh, this isn't like Star Wars. Well, no, a lot of people had a problem with, you know, I think more people had the problem with you know, Ackbar dying, or you know, Luke Skywalker's portrayal specifically, or you know, Rey being a Mary Sue, that being their first reaction. It's like he's dumbing it down and trying to make it seem more pathetic and like outrageous than it actually is.
He kind of comes across as one of those fans who just like Star Wars for the sake of Star Wars. Like, that's what it sounds like.
He likes it for the sticker.
If it says Star Wars, I like it automatically.
Yes. Keep saying, why can't you just like Star Wars? Why can't you just like everything and not give a negative opinion? And I think the better question is, why can't they have standards? Why can't they just have things that they can't be okay with? Because what the sequel trilogy did to Star Wars is not okay.
Well, we don't really care like if they enjoyed it or not. We're just trying to criticize it, and like they want to. Exactly. Like, it's like, okay, so they enjoy the film, we don't. We criticize it. They come over to us and say, "Oh, stop! You know, being toxic fans." We didn't go to you. You came to us. We don't want anything to do with you. You can like it all you want. We're over here trying to criticize it because we didn't like it. It's like, oh, you're being toxic. It's like, no, we're just criticizing a terrible film. You're coming over here calling us toxic. We haven't done anything to you. We don't care about
this.
You.
Is the promise.
That's why I'm saying that. Like, if they tell us that, why can't you just like Star Wars? The proper response to that, if they come to you with that, is why can't you have standards? I mean, why is everything just okay? Why should I just accept everything and have no standards of what I want in my entertainment? That's what they're asking you to do, you know. Just to accept everything and like everything. You can't have standards. Now you can have standards that are too high, obviously, but when it comes to Star Wars, a sequel trilogy anyway, they're asking you to have no standards whatsoever and to just accept everything. Just that's where we get the term "just consume" from. So that'll be a good question. Why am I not allowed to have standards when it comes to Star Wars?
Here's a super chat from Lieutenant Colonel Tanya Van Gudagusha. Thank you, sir, or ma'am, whatever you call. Mando or Mandalorian proves that it can be bad as long as it's not offensive, with kind of sort of interesting concept with a cute puppet. Fans will eat it up. Essentially, don't insult your fan base. I think Mandalorian is kind of pulpy. It's kind of episodic. It's got a slowly arching theme. I don't know about the main plot, so I don't know. But essentially, he goes around getting money. He's a bounty hunter, essentially. So
overall, it's the bounty. The Mandalorian's all right. It's all right, but it's really good. Relatively,
it feels more like Star Wars than anything else.
A lot more like Star Wars.
You see how simple that is? Take the elements from the lore, use them in an attractive way, make it kind of funny, make it kind of cute, make it kind of action-packed, kind of this, kind of that, and people will be great because you're not pushing too many boundaries. And it's not to say they can't, but it's kind of like that, like watching MASH. MASH was a comedy drama, right? And then you got to the last season, and they start experimenting, where they had these weird dreamscapes and Hawkeye's running through the fields, and there's all his blood over his hands, and he's sad, and you're allowed to do that once you are inside, once they have you, once the hooks are in, then you can do more experimental things. You don't do it with movies without hooking the people in first. You don't just say, well, this is Star Wars, I can do whatever I want. It's like, no. This is not the clay sculpture class in grade school where you just make a mess. You have to make a beautiful porcelain piece of artwork and paint it just so, and put it in the kiln for a certain amount of time. You can't break it. You can't burn it. You know, you have to do all these things to make a beautiful piece of whatever. So I don't like this idea that it's popular, therefore do anything. Or everyone already has a huge audience, so I can't screw this up. It's going to make money. Well, yeah, we'll make money.
Did Disney really believe that they could just let Star Wars go do whatever they wanted, and like they would just rake in the money? It's like, well, it lasted about one film, didn't it?
I don't know if that's the case, because we don't know if Kathleen Kennedy was hands-on or hands-off. And
well, no, I think they just didn't care. They didn't care what Kathleen Kennedy did. I think Disney was hands-off, but Kathleen Kennedy is separate to Disney.
Right. So she would be like, okay, I'm going to give this big amount of money to Rian Johnson, and he's going to do whatever he likes. And
yeah, like the amount of money they gave him, and he didn't even. It was so much money, he didn't even plan out his fucking how much it was going to cost. He just said, "Do that thing,"
which is insane.
The documentary we were watching, they only started talking about money after like the cow and all that shit was starting to be built. Like all these sculptures of these, they started creating these weird, wacky creatures that would only be in for like one shot. And like after that took up like a huge sum of money, they said, actually, oh shit, maybe we should actually start, trying to plan how much this is actually going to cost us. And even then, Rian Johnson just kept saying, no, we're doing this in the most expensive way possible. Just keep throwing money all the time.
And if you know anything about art or making anything creative, that's not how you make things. You don't have unlimited resources. You have very limited time and very limited resources. That's the only way to make good art. I've never seen the argument like, oh, if only Michelangelo had more time for the Sistine Chapel. It's like, no, he was working his ass off for years. The Pope was hounding him every day. When is this thing going to be done? He's like, when it's ready. He doesn't know the exact time, but he's working as one man, doing all these things up in the ceiling, holding this chapel hostage for so long. It's like you can only work so hard.
Another thing, an artist has to be efficient with the materials they have. Rian Johnson is not efficient if he's spending so much money on things which could be done for the exact same. Well, either things that didn't need to be done or things that could have been done for much, much lower prices.
Right. What was was it 2 extra hours he cut out, or whatever, something along those lines, like a 5-hour?
There were hours which were cut from that film, and like there are so many scenes which we just didn't see. That wasn't in the final cut.
Which is insane. You would never can you imagine us making a video where, okay, I recorded 10 minutes of myself talking, and why do I have 2 hours of footage? Like, where'd that come from? How am I going to use that? I guess I got to cut that down. Like, it doesn't make sense. You don't plan good art like that. So when you're writing a story, you don't just, oh, my chapter 2 is 33 pages long, and my chapter 1 is 2 pages. What the hell's going on? Like, how does that work? How do you manage your real estate with your ideas? You have to plan these things out. And you can tell something was off with The Last Jedi, either in the planning or the editing saved it, because you can't tell, it's so bloated. Things just slowed down. The pacing was just not there.
Or lukewarm at best.
That's it. I'm out of ideas. We're closed.
Force Awakens, too familiar. The Last Jedi, too radical. Solo, a Star Wars story, too safe.
Solo was safe?
No, Solo was not safe. Solo was idiotic and probably one of the furthest away from Star Wars you could possibly get. Like, it was like they were throwing in rock music into the things like the trailers. They were trying to do so many things which just didn't work. They completely changed the look of the Falcon. They got a guy which didn't look like Solo at all, or even sound like Harrison Ford. Like there was just so little passion and care that was thrown into the film. Compare that to Rogue One. Rogue One is a film which looks and feels like Star Wars almost completely. Like, are there problems with it? Yes. Character development is next to nothing, but at least it has some qualities which actually make it look and feel like Star Wars, which Rogue One which Solo just doesn't have at all.
Here's a super chat from Taker610. Ben Shapiro's list. Oh, this is fun. Number 1 is Empire. Okay, he's got some taste there. Got some quality in his eyes. 2, A New Hope. All right. 3, Rogue One. Interesting. Putting Rogue up there. I've never seen it, but I'm assuming it's one of those fun war stories that.
The thing is, it was something which was rewritten, because the Disney and Kathleen Kennedy felt like it was too dark. So originally it was supposed to be darker, but then it had to be rewritten. Unfortunately.
Okay, number 4, Revenge of the Sith. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. And 6, The Rise of Skywalker? What? That's shocking. Really?
What's below it? What's below?
There's no 7, 8, or 9, so I don't know. Did he score the other 3?
That's over Force Awakens. That's over Last Jedi. That's over Episode 1 and 2 as well. I don't think you mentioned Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's definitely strange. Like having Rise of Skywalker above. It kind of depends how you quantify it. Because if you're ignoring the fact that Force Awakens is like a complete lazy copy paste, then I suppose you can say it's a better film in terms of its quality if you ignore the fact it's copying its work, because obviously it's copying from a better film. So you could say that, oh, maybe that's a better film, but if you apply the larger context outside the film, then maybe you could say, actually, no, it's worse than Rise of Skywalker. It just depends on what kind of scale you're using and if you're using context outside the film as well.
Here's a Criminal Imagination. Interesting super chat. Having Solo without Harrison was a risk. Well, it is a prequel, so you want to tell the story or the backstory of Han Solo. But there were better actors, I'm sure, even ones we've never met yet, that could have played the role better. See, it's not hard to get people to play characters from comic books or stories. You describe them on the page. You go, okay, and then you find the guy that looks like that. And then you say, okay, we're going to give you some acting lessons. Okay? It's not hard. So with that, though, there was a guy on YouTube, I can't remember his name, who sounded and looked and acted just like Harrison Ford. So, and the story of how, what's his name, got hired, it was just ridiculous. He was the first one to get auditioned. They went through hundreds of other people. They still chose him. And it's just strange. Because I'm sure out of 100 or so, or 200 or 300, I'm sure there was someone who was perfecting their Han Solo walk, their Han Solo talk, etc. So, strange. Wonder why that happened that way. Not sure.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
It ruined. So here he's trying to alienate all the fans for being too unsure of themselves, of saying this is too much like this.
He's saying that the fans are like, so they didn't like the prequels because they weren't like the originals. It's like, oh, well, then they didn't like the Force Awakens because it was too much like the originals, and then they didn't like Last Jedi because it wasn't too. So he's trying to make it out like they're never happy, or the fans said, oh, they wanted this, and then when they did that, then they said, no, actually, I want it back the other way. Like, he's trying to make it sound like they can't make their mind up and like they're really fickle.
Ignoring one common denominator here, in that the prequels and the sequels didn't give Star Wars fans the same thing. They refused to give Star Wars fans the same exact thing. That's a really good constructed narrative with really good constructed characters. Prequels did a better job than the sequels, obviously, as we said before, but they both refused to fans what they wanted, and that was the same sort of wonderful story that we got from the original trilogy. Neither one of the trilogies following the original trilogy has delivered a satisfying story. So they neglect to mention that, conveniently enough. Just give the fans don't want it's very easy to know what the fans want. Okay, and just figure out what the prequel series neglected to do, and figure out what the sequel series neglected to do. Good story, good characters, good character arcs. That's what you needed. Okay, it's not that hard. Okay, it's like writing 101. Okay.
ruined the Star Wars franchise. It ruined the Star Wars franchise. This ruined the Star Wars franchise. It ruined the Star Wars franchise.
Whenever there's a bad anything, yes, it does ruin the series. It does ruin the lore.
Well, the prequels didn't ruin the Star Wars franchise. I mean, people say what came afterwards, the Clone Wars and all that stuff. But the Last Jedi actually did. I mean, people they became apathetic to the Star Wars franchise when the Last Jedi came out. Okay.
Look at the fan base. It is so much worse than it was before. The fans, even what he's saying right now, fans have conflicted. It's never been such a segregated before. It was never this segregated during the prequels, which was often back then it was referred to this is the darkest time in Star Wars, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, we never got full blown apathy like we do now, especially after, and it happened with Last Jedi. You could see it in the numbers. It came out with Solo, and that tanked. Then they came out with several things after that. Everything tanked. They had to redo everything. That canceled so many projects they had in mind because it tanked. The Last Jedi killed the interest and the faith that the movie-going public had in the Star Wars franchise, and so it resulted in the Rise of Skywalker being kind of forgotten about. Nobody cared about it. I went to go see it on a Saturday, kind of after it came out, and no one was in the theater. It was almost empty. It was ridiculous for a Star Wars film.
Ruined the Star Wars franchise. It ruined the Star Wars franchise.
No one said the fucking Clone Wars ruined the Star Wars franchise, you piece of shit.
Star Wars franchise. This ruined the Star Wars franchise. It ruined the Star Wars franchise.
Sorry, pause it because I can't pause it right now. No one said The Force Awakens ruined the Star Wars franchise. Back then, all the fans were up in arms saying, oh my god, this is... Oh, sorry, they had their hands in the air. Say, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. Oh my god, it's so amazing. That was the reaction. No one was saying it was ruining the Star Wars franchise until The Last Jedi. He's exaggerating. He's exaggerating far beyond the reality. Because no one said the Clone Wars ruined the Star Wars franchise, because at that point, the prequels... in their eyes had already broken it, and the Clone Wars ended up turning to a great fucking show. So again, that kind of stopped. He's trying to misrepresent a lot of things, and he's trying to twist facts.
Well, even if we put this, we took what he's saying at face value, especially as an instance of Star Wars fans crying wolf, and that it didn't, there was no wolf around. They thought they saw a wolf. Didn't come around. Wolf being the death of the Star Wars franchise. That doesn't mean, in the story of the kid who cried wolf, the wolf eventually comes around, and then he said he cries wolf again, but nobody comes along and nobody believed him. That's the kind of the art of the tale there, the final lesson. The thing is, the wolf eventually comes and eats the boy and all the sheep. This because the Star Wars fans, even given that this guy is telling truth and all that stuff. Presuming his truthfulness, the Star Wars fans might have gone overboard, maybe, by saying this ruined the Star Wars franchise, this ruined the Star Wars franchise, this ruined the Star Wars franchise. That doesn't mean that the next time they say it, what came out that was horrible and they say that ruined the Star Wars franchise, doesn't mean it didn't ruin the Star Wars franchise, because The Last Jedi did. Maybe the Force Awakens didn't, but The Last Jedi, if not ruined Star Wars franchise, then really tanked it a lot. Just put a hole in the critical part of the hull of the ship that is the Star Wars franchise. It began sinking at the very least at that moment.
I think when you have a Mary Sue in any series, any chapter, any piece of fiction, you're already on a target for disaster. You're setting yourself up to go in a downward spiral. And if you don't deal with that character quickly or early on, or fix it soon, then, as an intro to a trilogy, having a Mary Sue can work. It's a mystery. Why is she so strong? Why does everyone like her? Reveal that in the second movie. Great, you can do that.
Anyway, what's really pissed me off is he's misrepresenting everything. So
I just think
that's something I just don't like, and he's being disingenuous.
I just think they'll be far better off knowing what we know, if they just set the sequel trilogy 1,000 years or so after the original trilogy, and just had Harrison Ford, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker appear in like holocrons or something, or flashbacks, very minute, short flashbacks. It doesn't ruin anything. Keep them mythical, keep them awesome, and have them mentor the new characters from a distance. Temporally speaking, like, time-wise, they would. I think they'd be a lot better off. But now the sequel trilogy was so close to the original trilogy that it ended up ruining the original trilogy.
Here's a good chat from Phoenix Nightflame. I just noticed Anakin was a Gary Stu in episode 1. I think most of us agree with that's the case. And then we got a long time skip that allowed for training. Exactly. See, that works. Take a kid, make him amazing. It's like, whoa, slow down there.
And don't forget that Anakin Skywalker was literally the chosen one and needed training. What's Rey's excuse? She's just awesome? Okay.
She's mysteriously awesome. You don't know.
Franchise. It ruined the Star Wars franchise.
I'd say she's pretty close up there with ruining the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, the purple hair alone does it. I did it a lot.
Hey, Holdo, what's the plot? I'm not going to tell you. Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what the plot is because I'm Holdo.
I'm not going to tell you our plan. Why would I do that to one of my highest ranking officers?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Her and him were like the highest ranking in the Resistance from that point.
Who's this Holdo woman? No one's invested in her. Who is she?
Woohoo! This was a horrible scene, so by the time you get to episode 9, everything's horrible, so it doesn't make a difference.
What, you didn't like Bilbo Teeth Rey? That she's the best character in the whole franchise.
But again, I'm just getting pissed because he's trying to misrepresent everything. Like he's being really disingenuous.
I think this people were saying in the chat. This is Hello Greedo talking. I think it is.
Well, Hello Greedo does like to misrepresent people.
No kidding. Yeah. See how there's super fans who just get everything wrong? They're just so biased they can't see beyond their nose or beyond his helmet. It's just this sad, like, we get it. You love Star Wars. Can you stop going nuts with your brain for 2 seconds and go, okay, maybe you're exaggerating a bit far. Maybe you could slow down a bit.
Scary, Rey's a villain now. Ooh, what a twist. Oh, you're blowing my mind with your magical storybox, Jar Jar Abrams. Oh, so amazing. You're not going to trick us, J.J. Abrams. We're wise to your act now, you slimy little snake.
Now the fans are saying that they want George Lucas back, and yet... when
I
Disney
thought he was going to
acquired the
say a
franchise-
different S word.
I'm not sure if he was making fun or being serious. It's kind of hard to tell with all these voices.
Don't care enough.
The fans didn't want him anywhere near the movies because how they feel he raped their childhood or ruined their childhood, especially after all the vitriol that he received from the special edition changes. You were the ones who were saying that
Imagine that. That's how badly the fans took to the sequels. They wanted George Lucas back after all that. So you take that as the fans being disingenuous and not how bad the sequels actually were. They would go with the person who raped their childhood over the sequel.
Sometimes, you don't really know what you have until you lose it. Like, you don't really realize that things could actually be so much worse than the way they are.
Well, you'd think if after you spend billions of dollars to someone to own something, you'd have a few bucks left over to say, hey, you know what? Let's get a really good science fiction writer and take this amazing thing we just bought and treat it well. Like, that would have been the most simplest thing to do.
All they had to do was not fuck up. That's literally all they had to do. And you know the funny, ironic part is that when The Force Awakens came out and was a hit, there was a joke that I believe Stephen Colbert made to JJ. It's like, oh, Star Wars fans are so easy to please. They'll just accept anything you put on the table. And like JJ said, yeah. Like, it wasn't joking. I was like, yeah, they'll accept anything. It's like, so you've got the easiest job in the world. It's like, oh, well, 2 years come around. Things change.
They certainly did change. Thank you very much, Jar Jar Abrams. And then the thing happened when when you realize that The Last Jedi had over 2 hours of film they didn't use, but they still left in Canto Bight. Those are the people that we're dealing with.
And they decided to cut out the scene where Luke mourns for Han Solo.
I want to see the scene where Luke marries that cow thing. I'm pretty sure that's his wife.
You think that
He called it Mara.
Johnson would have liked the sad, depressing parts of the story? It's so far removed from being nihilistic. It's like, yeah, sad, feeling nothing. Yeah, those are pretty different. Let's keep those. Let's not put them together at all whatsoever. Just he's lonely and scared. That's enough. We don't need any emotion. That's good. He's fine. Luke's good.
George Lucas should be out from the picture, and now you want him back?
And Lucas isn't going to touch that again after you guys terrorized him.
Yes, they want him back.
They
want him back.
You go to make a movie, and all you do is get criticized, and people try to make decisions about what you're going to do before you do it. It's not much fun, and you can't experiment. You can't do anything. You have to do it a certain way.
If Kathleen Kennedy and the studio were listening to the various fan reactions...
Yeah, but he had that opinion even before he made Star Wars. He was the same way back in school. That was the problem with, I don't know, all the friends he had in school, but Coppola and what's the other big name? Spielberg. They always want to do their own thing. Even with Star Wars. That's why when he made Episode 5, he was the guy who fronted all the money. He went to the bank and said, listen, this is going to be my thing. I want the rights to all the merchandise and everything else. Because he wanted control. So obviously when he sold it off to Disney, and he goes in for consulting or for fun, whatever he does with his spare time, he has lots of time in the world, yeah, he's not going to get creative control because he sold it. That's the deal. They don't have to listen to you. And they didn't listen to George. He wanted some of his scripts respected. They said no.
Thing is, as well, this is George Lucas coming off from the prequels. So I think it's kind of... I don't think George Lucas admits that the prequels have faults. Like, the way he sees it is like, oh, well, I can't do anything right. Rather than looking at his work and saying, well, actually, no, I fucked up. I admit it here. And I should try better next time. Because that's what he thinks from his perspective. But really, if he made some good films for the prequels, things probably would have been fine.
It's kind of like, buying a McDonald's franchise and saying, okay, we have to stick to the menu. It's like, no, I want to make my own salad hamburger or something. You're like, what? What the hell is that? Did that get approved by head office? Then no, you can't do that. It's a strange thing. You buy into something, you're expected to produce the same quality that people expect.
Mm-hmm. You set the bar for yourself. So like it says, okay, well, I've made this thing to this level of quality, and now everyone else is expecting that you're going to make the next thing at that roundabout the same bar level of quality.
And nothing was stopping George from doing his own other space opera story. I mean, he had plenty of time and money, plenty of manpower to make his own experimental whatever. And maybe he just hasn't shown it to theaters.
Why can't George Lucas make something like, I don't know, The Adventures of Hans Bolo, and then his own character he can free of Disney, and it's a guy, I don't know, maybe a smuggler or something, that goes off on interesting adventures with his alien co-pilot buddy.
Nothing was stopping him. That's essentially what the BioWare company did. Oh,
and they can drive the ship called the Century Eagle or something.
Yeah, what was it? Mass Effect came about when BioWare wanted to do Star Wars, but they didn't want to do something else within KOTOR. They want to do something different. So they decided, okay, well, what we'll do is just make our own Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it became Mass Effect.
Exactly the same after they did KOTOR, exactly the same after they did Baldur's Gate. They wanted to do their own fantasy. They wanted to do their own science fiction, and they did. And
that's what George Lucas did with Willow. He wanted to do Lord of the Rings, and they told him no. So Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And turn into Willow.
Mm-hmm.
Which wasn't that? I mean, I enjoyed it as a kid because I was a kid, but it's.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
It's a very silly movie, but I liked it.
It's fun.
Over the last few years, I bet you they're going to be saying,
"What do you want from us? We threw you a bone."
Star Wars fans are impossible to please. They have no idea what they
No,
want
they're
from
not.
Star Wars anymore. I thought the Spider-Man
Star Wars fans have been.
So different fans want different things. So, of course, from your perspective, it's going to seem like they don't know what they want. But, again, holy fuck, this guy is so disingenuous. And it's kind of pissing me off because he's a cunt.
They want good stories and good characters. How hard is that? You have given them neither until The Mandalorian came out. And also the Clone Wars series. Fans like those. And guess what? They had good stories and good characters in those things.
Yeah, it's like, things which actually have good stories and good character. Well, fans liked Rogue One. Fans liked Force Awakens when it came out. Less so now, they realize it's shit. Fans liked Clone Wars. Fans liked The Mandalorian. Fans liked... but let's look at how many Star Wars games. Jedi Fallen Order. They liked Battlefront 2. Well, at least later on they appreciated Battlefront 2. What else do we have in Star Wars games? Pretty much all like the quality Star Wars games, which are known for their quality, fans loved, which were new. Fans liked Republic Commando. Fans liked KOTOR. Fans like this, that. So it's not just saying fans are never happy, because you have so many examples of fans being happy with what they've been given.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. Just give the fans good characters and good story. Mandalorian did it. Clone Wars did it. So many other video games did it.
Knights of the Republic, Star Wars Commando,
Old Republic, Natural Republic,
X-Wing, Rogue Squadron, Shadow of the Empire.
Look at the common denominator. Okay, the things that the fans don't like or absolutely hate. They don't have good characterization. They don't have good story. And the things that the fans absolutely love about Star Wars, they all, guess what? Surprise, surprise, all have at least a decent story, decent characterization. So it's not that hard, okay? It's not that hard. I don't know why these people can't realize that. The creators of Star Wars can't realize that, but apparently they can't. I guess it goes over their head. And it never took a second to think, maybe we should start giving the fans good stories instead of trying to insult them with stories.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of, again, the reason why, like, the creators of these films, like, they just kind of have the attitude of, it's, you just don't like my style. There's like that's the whole thing. That's just it's a good film and you just don't like it. It's like you're not being able to accept that what you have done can be criticized.
We had the clip with me.
I wish a visual effects artist went into film, because a visual effects artist has to understand that the work they've been doing, or any kind of, no, maybe not any kind of artist, but specifically a visual effects artist, has to understand, the work they've done. It's always going to have faults. You're never going to create the perfect work, so it's always going to have something to criticize. You're always going to have something to work on, and what you do is you take that criticism, you then improve upon it, and you come back next time. So I can imagine a visual effects artist who understood writing and going into film would do so much better than half the people that go into film these days, because they can actually take criticism. They probably have the same amount of skill as people into films these days, like Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams, and just because they can accept criticism, they would be able to improve.
And there's a bad argument to be made of us being spoiled when we do have good Star Wars content, whether it's KOTOR or the original series, and we say, well, why isn't it like this? Why not say literally like it, but the quality of it is so good. Why can't you do something like that? And I don't mind people being experimental, but I don't mean avant-garde experimental where the message is nothing. I mean, hey, make it a romance. I'd love to see a trilogy about a romance that is not the prequels. I would love to see a trilogy which is not all serious. Maybe there's a bit of comedy in there. I would love to see all these mixture of genres if you have the skill to do it. It still takes a good chef or a good writer to make something this complex. Like going to the movie theater, you're going to go, I'm going to watch a great space opera. Not only do you get to watch a great space opera, you get to see an exciting action adventure. which happens to be in space, and a really good romance.
Someone has to stop. Oh, sorry, let me finish.
Yeah, like if you're going to combine all these ideas, because space opera is a big mix of ideas, and you're going to take like genres or elements like, I don't know, immortality or supernatural forces, then great. Do it in a very good way. Blend it. Take your time. Write a story that takes months to put together. Figure out all the details. Figure out the levels. Get all your characters worked out. Then say, hey, you know what? You wanted a hamburger. Guess what? You're getting a steak, buddy. Bravo. Surprise. Same price. Better deal. And people are going to love you for that. Or at least the writer. And they're going to say, hey, that guy who wrote that latest Star Wars film, he's great. I was expecting something, run-of-the-mill, action-adventure. No. He really delivered. He did everything. He did romance. He did intrigue and mystery. There was a murder going on. What was it? All this stuff just interconnected. Fantastic stuff. That's what we want to see.
Sorry, I'm just waiting to put in because I really want to go up to this guy and say, what about all these things which we've just listed off? What about all of these things which fans have absolutely loved? What about these? What, fans are never happy, but they like these?
So many references. I know that they're going to be talking about Revan and the Old Republic. I don't know what they're doing with it. We have no clue. They talked about it a few months ago. Would be nice. That would get me interested. I'd love to see how they ruin that one.
That's what to say. That's probably going to be where the real interest lies. And see how they ruin this.
Essentially,
very interesting.
It's like we're giving you gold and you're turning it into bronze. It's like, how do you do this?
I guess the Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams is alchemists of failure.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we can do anything with this. It's always going to be good. It's like, no.
Come one, come all, says Rian Johnson. Watch me turn gold into stone.
Yeah.
It's divisive. So basically, for the last year and a half, I have officially...
Has the sound quality just gone down for anyone else?
Vibe isn't as fun anymore.
It's just his microphone.
Okay, so it's just his microphone going shit.
Yeah.
As it used to be. Everybody has to get on their soapbox about how they think that this movie has ruined the franchise, or how they think that this film in the current era is the best Star Wars film. And they even go as far as to bullying people like Kelly Marie Tran and Daisy.
Oh, the people like myself and everyone else on here who has made videos about Star Wars bully people. It's like, no. Sorry, that's not how this works.
Yeah,
I hate that you try to blame everyone for the actions of a few thousand. It's like trying to point at crowds of millions of people for the actions of 1,000. It's like, what the fuck? These other million people haven't done anything. You're going to blame the actions of like 1,000 people over here.
If you're a YouTuber, you're also a Twitterer, and you're also an Instagrammer, and you're also, it's like, yeah, oh, okay, really?
All I'll take credit for is the fact that I very enthusiastically, debunk people's happiness. That's all I've done.
That's why AT-AT-chan had to take a break this month from doing videos.
Another thing, Kelly Marie Tran also complained about the media attention, not the fans, apparently. That's what someone... I think I remember something similar along the lines.
And then John Boyega got in trouble because he said that she's not strong enough to be on social media. So it takes a certain level of mental strength or something like that to be on social media, and he got in trouble for that.
Well, also, there's no proof either. I think it was just that she left social media unannounced, and people just kind of assumed that it was because she was harassed off social media.
Oh boy, we got an instance of toxic Star Wars fans being toxic.
That was Instagram,
fantastic.
Right?
Let's throw this into the media spin.
That wasn't Twitter. That was Instagram, I think, just for her though. In that case, yeah. Instagram's a little different than Twitter, but it's essentially the same idea.
Not really. It's you don't. The reason why I like Instagram over Twitter, even though I don't really use either right now, is because Twitter you have people just kind of spouting political nonsense and retweeting political things. Like every now and again, I'll just be going down and I'll see LiteratureDevil retweeting Trump, or I'll see Robert Picardo saying there's something about Black Lives Matter, but you don't see that on Instagram. In Instagram, it's mostly things like art, and videos, stuff. So in Instagram, you actually just get like art and stuff, and that's it because it's limited to things like images and videos. It's so much better, I think, because you don't get political tantrums.
I just blame America. And anytime there's a new technology, it's always weaponized. It's like, yep, America did that.
Yep. America
weaponized Twitter.
America loves its politics. America loves its politics.
Yeah.
I like puppies. Wait, is that a Trump meme? Yeah, I bet Trump killed puppies. Like, what? What are you talking about? How'd that happen?
I heard that Hitler drank water once, and so did Trump. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, well, social media is fun. YouTube is probably the most fun, but Twitter.
Anyway, let's keep going because this fuckwit doesn't know when to stop.
Okay, we'll keep going.
Ridley off social media just because they didn't like the way a character was portrayed, just like they did with Jake Lloyd.
Oh, I know what's happened here. I know what's happened. He was recording while someone was hoovering in the background, and he's used he's used Audacity to try and cut out the noise rather than re-recording it because he's a fucking idiot.
Okay.
It's like he couldn't just wait until, because you can hear the hoovering in the background, and the way like the mic's going, it's very reminiscent of like when you hear like noise reducers from Audacity.
Really?
Because it takes a certain sample and it tries its best to try and remove what it hears from everything else, and it often does it very awfully, and it decreases quality.
Interesting.
So he couldn't wait. He couldn't just wait for someone to stop hoovering. He decided to keep going. Fucking idiot.
I couldn't believe some of the things they wrote about the prequels. You know? I mean, but really, beyond I didn't like it. You ruined my childhood, and I'm still angry about the way they treated Jake Lloyd. He was only 10 years old that boy. And he
that was
exactly
awful,
what George
actually.
wanted him to do.
No, but if you look into Jake Lloyd, that's more the media than the fans. So it was things like the media, and it was him in school as well. Like he was actively bullied in school, but that's mostly because if kids smell blood in the water, they're gonna go after you because they go for the lowest hanging fruit they can find. If it's not this, that, and the other, like fucking someone's been in like a shit Star Wars film, that's blood in the water. They're gonna go for it.
Yeah, and he had to go. He kind of wrecked his life. All that attention and bullying and stuff. That was awful. What happened to that kid? It was very unfortunate.
I think there's the kid from that was in Revenge of the Sith, where he says, "Oh, Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we gonna do?" That followed him throughout his entire life. Like even his friends jokingly took the piss out of him, saying, "Oh no, there's too many of them. What are we gonna do?"
That's what happens when you're part of something popular.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I understand clunky dialogue.
Part of my life for the last 10 years. Yeah. High school they wouldn't let it go, so.
Yeah.
You know how they can be in high school. They're so charming and intelligent. Awesome people. So, yeah.
But that's not fans, that's high schoolers.
People say, we're not talking about you, we're talking about Jar Jar. We're talking about me.
And I'm not even
No, because you're not Jar Jar, you twit. This is like where he says, "Oh well, I am Jar Jar." It's like, no, you're not. You're not the character you play on screen. It's like that's not you. And unless I don't know, maybe he is Jar Jar. Maybe he's this annoying twat that everyone wants to shut up every 5 seconds.
He's a method actor. Yeah, I had to really get into Jar Jar.
It's like, well, the ability to talk does not make him intelligent.
I don't think there was any method acting on Star Wars. I think it was all George, like, okay, go over there, say your line. No, be angry, be angrier. Yeah, like that. Great dialogue direction there, George. Thanks.
Say it while staring down at her tits.
You want to kill Qui-Gon, but you can't. How do you feel? I'm angry. That's good. Okay.
Me suckle Jar Jar. No. I admit that people shouldn't go after the actors and I admit people did go after the actors, and something you're talking about when Jake Lloyd isn't the part which impacted him the most was the bullying in school. I think that was him even saying that there in the clip, where it wasn't so much the fans, it was people in school who were looking for blood in the water. They were going to bully him anyway. That just needed to find something his weaknesses.
In high school, they'll bully anyone for anything. They found something for him.
You fucking drop a plate on the ground, all of a sudden, like, they're gonna bully you. It's like, oh, haha, he's clumsy. You do so much as read a book. It's like, oh, what a nerd, he read a book. You kiss a girl, like, they're gonna bully you for that as well. Like, you can't do anything that they're not gonna try and find some way to get at you.
Here's a super chat from Mad Courier 6. Thank you, sir. I don't know about you, but the fact that MGS2 predicted social media and groupthink to a T way back in 2002 scares me. I wouldn't read too much into Hideo Kojima's ramblings. I think MGS2 is just a ridiculous story. And how does the old story? You have a broken clock. It's going to get something right, and the rest of the Metal Gear Solid franchise is pretty much a mess. So it's like, yeah. I'm sure he said a lot of crazy things about, genetics, information technology.
Although I have heard that Hideo Kojima hates The Last of Us 2, so he's not all bad.
Really?
But he roasted it. Someone covered it. Hirohei, the YouTuber Hirohei, covered it. He said that Hideo Kojima
didn't it was the guy behind The Last of Us, like,
he wrote
shade on him.
Yeah, I guess Hideo Kojima's just firing back, I guess.
Yeah, he like tried to attack Quiet and some other ones, and then Hideo Kojima came back at him.
Oh, really? When he did that presentation about these are our role models as women in video games, you're like, oh dear, here we go.
No, yeah, again, those are not role models for women in video games, because little girls shouldn't be playing Dead or Alive, Halo, or what was the other one?
MGS5.
Metal Gear. It's like, yeah, well, if little girls are playing those games, then they're not made for them. Well,
here's the Nintendo. Go play some, Wii Sports or something. I don't know. Whatever girls play on Nintendo, I don't know.
I think was it that one matching game? I forgot what it's called. What's one of those matching games you play on the phone or whatever? That's what.
Candy Crush.
Yeah, Candy Crush. That's been actually scientifically studied. That's what women mostly play.
Well, I think there's many things that tie into that, because the thing is about mobile games, because I suppose less women have like actual gaming consoles. You mainly use the mobiles to play games. So that I remember they even tried to misrepresent some statistics. So when looking at statistics, they all of a sudden started saying, "Oh, why aren't women marketed towards when they're one of the biggest consumers in gaming?" And it was this really misrepresented chart of like people who play video games, and it included it. It wasn't distinguishing between playing a game on a phone or playing a game on a PC or playing a game on Xbox. And actually, when you broke down the statistics, it's like, oh, actually, a majority of these women over here and the percentage which are making it so it's more women than men playing video games, they're actually just playing mobile games.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the accessibility, and you don't really need to be invested in a mobile game. You can just pick it up and do it whenever you want, and that's easy for girls who are just out wherever you want. Whereas men who are more accustomed to playing a game with an actual story, with gameplay that's not quite as, I don't know, repetitive, would probably be of those higher standards because they played Halo, because they played Empire at War, because they played so many other games which actually have story and different kinds of gameplay.
Try to do the same thing with comics. Try to make that women are like a very, very powerful force in comic books. The thing is, it's not really that way. They read, according to studies, and research, women mostly read manga. You get the majority of the women who read comic books are reading manga and not Western style comic books. But they put them in. Someone wrote about it and they put it together and try to make it where combine women who read Western comic books and women who read manga, and try to put together and say, look, this is women make up a huge majority of the people who read comic books in America. It's different, okay? Because manga and Western comic books not really the same thing. I mean, at least American, right? I saw American comic books, not really coming from the same thing. Manga and Western style comic books American style comic books, very different. So there's a reason why that there's a difference there. Also, a lot of the Marvel and DC creators, they used to come out and say the comic book industry is better than ever before, and they cite sales, and sales of comics are up. But what they did was they did the same exact thing. They tossed in manga sales with their own sales just to prove that, look, comics are doing amazing in America.
That's not disingenuous at all.
It's kind of like saying that it's like kind of like saying a hot dog salesman says, "Oh, look, hot dog sales are doing great. Look how much they sell hamburgers over there. Look all the hamburgers and hot dogs we're selling." Well, you don't sell hamburgers. Yeah, but we're doing great.
You have no brain.
The Battlefront games, the recent ones anyway.
I can't hear him.
That the Jedi Fallen Order is good, and from what I can tell,
It's a noise cancellation. It makes it impossible to hear.
it'll probably go in a direction that fans are not going to like, and they're going to.
Oh, okay. So he's actually saying that. Oh, well, people enjoy the Battlefront games, and it's like to an extent, yeah. Now they've actually changed and course corrected to big dumb fanboys. They actually those games are much more renowned within the fandoms of Star Wars. So, but he's like trying to say, oh, well, they'll do something which fans aren't happy with. Do you know, funny enough, to the point, the only thing which fans are happy with right now is the fact that they're no longer going to be producing content. That's fans' biggest problem right now. So he's actually wrong about that. They didn't fuck up. Past the initial fucking up, that is.
There's so much, though, of content for Star Wars that they liked in the past. They're just not getting as much of it as they could because it's been either disqualified, meaning it's no longer part of the canon, or they're just not making it anymore.
Again, I'll tell you who's ruined Star Wars for me. It's not Kathleen Kennedy. It's not J.J. Abrams.
Is it the fans? Because it says so in your title. But okay, let's hear.
Is it me?
It's LiteratureDevil. What?
Hope it's me.
Not Rian Johnson. And it's not George Lucas either.
God damn it! Just wait 5 minutes. Look, dude, just wait 5 minutes until whoever's hoovering outside stops hoovering, because, or just re-record it another time, because we can't hear a fucking thing you're saying. Did he even watch this video back? Did he even there's times my boiler makes a fucking sound and I'll just wait for 10 minutes for it to stop making that sound so I can continue recording what I'm talking about.
And I'm not saying all the fans. I know not all of them are like this. But the ones who bully these actors into seclusion...
Yes, the very, very select few of people who may have accidentally or actually done this on, what is it, Instagram? For Kelly Marie Tran, and Twitter. The extremists who swear and say crazy things will get blocked instantly on a social media site where you can block anyone you like. These are the bad people. It's like, sure, okay. That's not anyone I know. I've never seen these people. I've never heard them. I get some extreme people in comments on YouTube because it's YouTube. You get everyone. But I can't identify them.
Oh, George Calzert had a great comment. The fans turned me against Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You've done that yourself.
It's such a strange thing. It's like, I love Star Wars but hate the fandom. It's like, okay. But this guy...
Part of Star Wars is the fandom. The fandom is fucking amazing.
This guy...
Like, look at how many passion projects have been made by the fandom. They're amazing.
He can't appreciate the movies because the fans said some bad things on Twitter. Like, what? Why? How does that stop you from enjoying something?
But fans are amazing. Fans are very passionate, and I've met so many Star Wars fans, which I've honestly honored to have met because they were such great people. They were so talented, so passionate. I've met people who made some fantastic Star Wars artwork through their passion. I've seen people who make movie-level visual effects of Star Wars. I've seen people who make fan films. There's so much raw passion and love there. It's amazing. It's honestly fantastic. Fans are fucking amazing, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Into one nearly committing suicide, Ahmed Best, who plays Jar Jar, and Jake Lloyd, who's now living a troubled life because of all the backlash he received, Kelly Marie Tran, who had to go to therapy because
Disingenuous.
Kelly Marie Tran had to go to therapy because of Instagram. Are you serious? If you are having to go to therapy from social media, just turn off the internet for 2 days. Go for a walk. I don't know, pet a puppy. I don't care. Just do something else with your life. Okay?
That's probably to the point where you need to get out the fucking door.
Yeah, something's wrong. Something else is going on if you think you're having a problem with people on Instagram. What a strange argument. I know a person who had to go to therapy because they were on YouTube for I was like, what? Really? How do they pay for their internet? Like, how does that work? Do they have a job?
I'm not showing up right now, but I fucking hate how disingenuous he is. It's pissing me off, seriously.
His arguments are pretty weak, so I don't mind it because it's funny to listen to. If I can actually hear him.
I don't think he even has any... He has arguments, but he doesn't have anything to back them up, really, as far as I've seen.
Any evidence. It's like, oh, well, fans did this. It's like, okay.
It's like, if they did, you know what? I agree with you. I don't like those fans either. If they do things on social media that say stupid shit, that's stupid. Yeah, I agree. Those are bad people.
Yeah, but so far he tells us these things, and we're supposed to just take his word for it.
Yeah. He's pointing at us. Like, he's saying, hey, look at this mean tweet. You did that. What, us? Like, we were just over here in Discord, and it's like, yeah, hey, you did this nasty thing. You were really mean. It's like, no, we weren't. We were over here having a party. It's like, we were over here just having a nice, pleasant discussion. No, you did this. You're toxic. Like being lumped in. Okay, you put something on Facebook. I put in a Facebook group my criticisms of The Last Jedi. All of a sudden, I was fucking heaped on with, oh my god, you're a toxic fan, oh my god, you're this, oh my that, until I got fucking banned for just that. So it's he's making wild claims and stretching the truth. So the way, like he was doing at the beginning of the video, which pissed me off the most, that, oh well, fans are so indecisive. It's like, no, they're not. You're just pulling out exaggerating things. And you're acting like the fan base is this whole, like it's all one entity, like saying, oh, Star Wars fans don't know what they want, when you're pulling out different examples of what different fans want. It's like, oh, well, they don't know what they want. It's like, no, each individual know what they want, but there's so many individuals that you can't really say they as a whole want this one specific thing. What they all want is very generalized, the very generalized idea of what a good film should be, at least. Like, what a good Star Wars film should be is a good film. That's objectively, it has a good quality, it makes sense. It's not impossible to make something that's good, that's loved by Star Wars fans. The whole idea that Star Wars fans are never happy is complete fucking ludicrous. You're a fuckwit.
Before I forget, here's Lenny the Shark. Leave my Cortana alone, Drunkman. And that's a reference to Neil Druckmann of how he was referencing the three ladies up on stage on his presentation.
He's a fuckwit as well. They're all fuckwits.
They're all bad.
I need to drink tonight. Oh, shame it's too late
See,
now.
I started way before you guys, so I was prepared.
I should have been prepared with alcohol. I probably needed it. It's too late now.
Yeah, well, anytime
Oh,
we
God,
see
this legitimately makes me angry. I'm actually upset. I'm annoyed. It's pissing me off.
You're so strong about these people, Shiny.
I'm actually going to go, like, after this, I want to go into the comment section and see what people are saying, because fuck these people.
Knowing how these videos go, it's probably like a bunch of people goes, wow, what a brilliant video.
Oh my God. It's like, I never realized I was falling to the dark side.
Yeah,
until
stuff like that.
I watched your video, and
No,
then you awakened me, and I realized I was such a terrible person, and now I have to do better.
I have to be even worse. Thank you for letting me know I'm even worse. I wasn't being bad enough.
Fucking hate these people. I fucking hate them with a passion. Fuck off.
Backlash as well for
I can't hear you.
His audio almost completely went away.
It's
Force Awakens was meant to
Guys, just so you know, we're on max settings for audio. This is as high as it goes.
This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable.
Again, it's that motherfucking who, dude. Wait, just wait till someone re-record. You must have rewatched your video. You must have. You couldn't have just released this and think, oh, this is okay. No one can fucking hear me, but this is okay.
Even Tommy was so dubbed himself over. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you could easily just re-record this. It's not even like you're reading off a script. You're just blabbering things. You could say just any. Just wait. You must have known that the mic would pick up the Hoover. It's like it's in just outside. What is this? Who is this stuff? What? He doesn't have any actual objective video quality. He's not making any arguments. The arguments he is making aren't using examples, or the examples he does use are extremist examples or clips which he's just pulled out his fucking ass on some random thing George Lucas said, some random thing Jake Lloyd said, some random fucking thing that some person over there said, someone who watched this film and was upset, or something they said. That's all his examples are. This video is terrible. It is fucking god awful.
Here's Mad Curtis. I just read the follow-up chat to Order 66. Start Order 66 against all the F-wits, Shiny, and then we had Aura Master DX Shiny is going to Order 66. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I will Order 66 all these fuckwits.
bring us back on board. You guys hated that.
He literally just cut his entire video because there was there was zero audio. It went mute.
Yeah, it's either a vacuum cleaner or like his voice is copyrighted somewhere.
Oh god!
Someone is doing copyright on his voice.
No, you can hear the Hoover if you listen.
Oh yeah, I see. I hear it. But, I mean, it could have been someone copyrighting his voice. He says it's all the same exact things.
Right now, all he's saying is blah blah blah. They did something that you asked for, then you didn't like it. Blah blah blah. They said they did something that you wanted, but you didn't like it. Blah blah blah. Fans can't be happy. Blah blah this. Blah blah that. You don't even have to hear him, and you know what he's fucking talking about. You know what he's complaining about.
Are not the ones that killed Star Wars. You've ruined Star Wars.
Oh, we've done, but we haven't fucking done anything. What have we done?
Wow, I'm powerful. I had really much stronger than I was.
This is such a backwards logic. It's like, hey, you guys over there in your podcast having fun. You're at fault. It's your problem. You're what's at fault. It's like we haven't done anything.
Can I add that? Can it be like how in the Game of Thrones, like that King somebody, the third defender of the first men or whatever it is? Can I be a literature devil, the bunker of happiness, slayer of Star Wars? Can I just use that?
Slayer of Star Wars.
Okay, what I'm gonna have to redo is I'm gonna have to reinvent my entire character to the point where I'm an evil stormtrooper. I'll be a purge trooper. How about that? They're still clones.
Most of the people that have criticized the movies or with the games or what have you, yeah, they will bash it. They'll say it's good or bad here or there, but they'll also say, and you can improve it if this was done this way, or you tried that, or did this technique. So we're not here.
It's called criticism.
Yeah, we're not just here to bash something. We're here to say. That's why we did fan fiction, not fan fiction. I redid episode 8. If it had a few tweaks, a bunch of other people did that as well. So we like talking about it. We like fixing things, and we like showing where things are broken, so that people can say, "Yeah, you're right. That slow-paced, slow-motion car chase plot is kind of boring. Doesn't make too much sense. You're right. Yeah."
Yeah, you point out why it doesn't work.
Exactly. And that's why we talk about it. We say, oh, you know what? Whenever we talk about Mass Effect, I have one of my buddies on, like, UDP. We always talk about problems that can be fixed easily, and then we just keep going because there's so many problems, and we end up making it a more interesting story. It's amazing. It happens every time. And it's just funny that it works out that way, that when you get people who are passionate about stuff, and go, once we have something to play with, like a piece of clay, we go, oh, if it was just shaped this way, now it's straighter. Now it would work better if it was straight. Like, yes, you're right. It's that simple.
I want to point out some Flick Glockwood said, because I kind of like it. Shiny's alter ego, Darth and polished. Now, I'll go further than that. I'll say Darth matte.
Darth matte.
The opposite of Shiny. It's Darth matte.
Oh, matte. I see. Okay.
You thought it was just matte.
I was like, your carpet? Like what?
Darth Mundane Matt.
Oh my god. That would be horrible.
Oh no. I want not like an evil alter ego, but I wouldn't go as far as Mundane Matt.
Then you'd be like throwing boulders at people and stuff.
Here we go. Zimzilla99 says, Lord Literature Devil, first of his name, debunker of happiness, bullier of actors, hater of the Johnson, the Kennedy, and the Abrams, most toxic of the brood, and slayer of Star Wars. Fantastic.
God, the thing is about Johnson, he is one. I don't know how many of you are going to get that, but I'm going to keep moving on now. What, last minute left, and then we go into the comments.
You mean he's a Richard?
Thomas.
John Thomas.
He's a fuckwit, that's what I'll say. There you go. That's not my thing.
You have.
Okay. Oh, he's blaming me. It's amazing. I love it.
All we've done, like literally us three here, all we have done is criticize these films. That's all we have done. But criticizing these films, that is bad enough. Like, you're ultimately, like, you do so much as not like something. You do so much as criticize something. You're evil. You're just bad. It's your fault. It's your fault you have a problem with it.
We have this video linked, right? There's a couple of things in here I wanted to cut out for clips.
I can send you.
Here we go.
Okay.
Found it.
Oh, I literally just sent it. Okay, fine, whatever.
There we go. Awesome.
It's your. Well, the problem is at LitDev that if you try and clip anything he says, you don't be able to hear it.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, we got 1 minute, 20 seconds left, guys. Oh, we're done. Wow, that was easy.
Are we sure we're done?
Is that just a minute of like pure blackness?
Are you sure we're done?
Oh my God. Is this editing error? Has he used Premiere Pro and he just had this like one audio clip that he's moved to the end of the timeline?
I'm still going to give Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker a fair shot. I think
still
J.J.
going
Abrams
on.
is a better director for Star Wars, and I think he has a better understanding of
That's
that
toxic.
universe, more
That's
so
toxic.
Than Rian
How dare
Johnson
you
does.
criticize?
But we'll see what
How
Rian Johnson does
dare
with
you?
the trilogy. The Mandalorian,
I don't even think that's
from
a
what I've
vacuum
watched so
cleaner.
far,
I think
is
that's
actually quite a good
something
series.
that's worrying
Jedi
back
Fallen
there.
Order, gonna save some money and try to buy that at a later time. But from what I hear, it's actually quite a good game. And based on the rumors and plot leaks that I've been hearing about the Rise of Skywalker, I don't know if any of them are true, but if you've read the leaks also, I can easily see them going in that direction. And it sounds to me like they are trying to make up for what The Last Jedi did.
Of course,
But all in all, it
they
doesn't
did
really
try.
matter how much they
They
manage
did
to repair the damage. The
But
movie's
it was
gonna make
awful.
millions. Some will love it, some will hate it.
See, this is the problem I have with a lot of people. It's like, oh, they're trying to fix the mistakes of the previous. Like, no, they're not trying to fix the mistakes. They're trying to write a story from that previous story. And you need to fix things in order to tell a story.
It's like, hey, look, the foundation for what we're building this thing is broken. We need to try and fill in the cracks there.
It's the
And
same.
mostly, I didn't get to see like a bunch of absolute love for the Rise of Skywalker or hate. It was just mostly just apathy. It was, I think, even worse.
I think the people who hated the Rise of Skywalker most were people that loved the Last Jedi.
Yeah, basically that's it.
Because again, it gave them the middle finger in so many ways. Even themes that they had just established in their head. It's like, oh, the theme of anyone can now be, a Force user. You don't need to be from a bloodline. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi wasn't from a bloodline.
Yeah,
Darth Maul was not from a bloodline. Count Dooku was not from a bloodline.
They kind of hated so much, and they thought that people that we love, that everyone who hated Last Jedi loved it. They thought like, oh, the people, it made it for Nazis. They made it for fans and Nazis, and they love it. But it's bad for some reason. But nobody really liked it, as far as I've seen. It was mainly just apathy.
It's such a mess to even begin to properly understand what the heck you just saw, and I doubt extra viewings will help. It'll just be like, oh, this is stuff that happened, and then just keep like, oh, this is gonna keep going like this, isn't it? And it just keeps happening, and you're confused, and there's no connection, and there's no point to it. It's a very poorly done story, whereas The Last Jedi was a very specifically told story for a purpose of just messing things up. So there's the mess, which is 9, and then there's the causing a mess, which is 8.
It's going to divide the fan base, and our childhoods will continue to get raped. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all very soon, and may the Force be with you.
Right now, I want to go into his comment section and see what they're saying.
I wonder if that was like a sound canceling, or is this that his camera was so fed up with his nonsense that it just kind of cut out his audio on its own.
Oh, so I found some cringe. It's like, oh, you were the chosen ones. You were supposed to bring balance to the fandom, not leave it in darkness. You're my sibling Star Wars fan. Fucking melodramatic piece of shit. And another one, and the fact that these so-called fans keep denying they did nothing wrong makes things... What?
Let's blame fans for something.
It's like, okay, I understand that some fans have done some shit, but you're saying all fans have done this thing, which we haven't. Like, I have met hundreds of people within the Star Wars community. I am willing to, stake a lot on every single one of them has never, ever harassed anyone. That none of them have ever bullied Jake Lloyd, that have ever sent so much as a nasty tweet. It's like, because that's not what a majority of Star Wars fans are. You can't blame millions of people. You can't blame millions of people based on the actions of a few. It's completely ludicrous and ridiculous that you would insinuate that you blame the fandom as a whole for the actions of a few. It's just stupid. It's like, oh, well, yeah, it's like fans keep denying, and just replying to this comment, fans keep denying that they've done nothing wrong because these individual fans have done nothing wrong. You twats. They haven't done anything. We here have not done anything. We've just criticized bad films. That's all we've done.
Here's a super chat from Mike Testa. Did anyone hear a vacuum? What a lazy numpty. I don't know if it was a vacuum. We're not too sure. It was just very quiet here and there, and then some parts were just completely cut, so we don't know what he was canceling. But, yeah. There was something going on. We just don't know what was the problem with his audio.
It was some kind of sound repressor thing, like it's trying to remove some kind of background sound. So, okay, here's another comment. They hated the prequels because they were too different. They hated The Force Awakens because it was too similar. They hated The Last Jedi because it was too different. They hated Han Solo because it was fun. They hated Rogue One because it was serious. And now they're shocked how hard it is to please. Again, this is the same argument from his fucking video. It's like, no, we're not hard to please. We took The Mandalorian because it was better than everything else, even though I think it's quite mediocre if you look at the series as its entirety. It's not difficult to please them. It's really not. so many things we can point at that fans love and adore. It's like it's stupid. It's like you point out all these things. Like there's so many things which fans love, and you're just ignoring them.
So yeah,
this video is I know I'm ranting a lot, but I guess maybe it's just because of how passionate about Star Wars I am.
Well, he's obviously making a lot of no true Scotsman's fallacies. He's grouping them even though he said he doesn't think all fans are like this, then he just keeps arguing for the fact that they are. So he has a
instead of humbling himself, he's just proud of his insufficiency.
Okay, and then there's the one. It's like, oh, thank you for the common sense. An unpopular opinion here on YouTube, but I enjoy all the Star Wars films, including Solo.
I don't think you can enjoy Episode 9. I don't think it's physically possible.
Fans need serious help. They're all still living with their parents, crying out loud. LOL. The fandom as a whole, geeks, nerds, and gamers, and this is why I hate them. Star Wars, for them, is all about cool explosions and lasers, not about meanings, messages, and themes behind Star Wars and its characters. Without Star Wars nonsensical space fantasy, something for reason for people to keep pointing out as an issue when it's not important. All these fucking comments, they're all so shit and it's like blowing wind up their own arse.
You gotta love the themes of the Solo movie. Just all those wonderful layers of meaning found in L337. And
if you look at some of the more recent comments, it's like Mark V, what an embarrassing video. Lieutenant Colonel Taylor, it's like, I don't remember writing any Star Wars films, sir, so I couldn't have ruined it. Believe me, that was a good one. I couldn't have fucked it up if I wanted to. I couldn't have fucked it up as bad as they have, even if I wanted to. Let's see some more. No one could be civil to you anymore. Oh no, that's not. But yeah, there's some actual like if you look at newest ones, it's like there's actually some people with some sense.
Well, I think we've exhausted ourselves from watching this.
Yeah, I'm a little angry. I'm a little annoyed now. I want to fucking rip some fuckwit's ass wide open.
There you go. I got the clip of him saying "You ruined Star Wars," so I can cover something about Rian Johnson, Last Jedi, and saying "You ruined Star Wars." You. It fit this perfectly.
You know, if you want to help me get more subscribers than this guy, please subscribe to my channel.
By the way, guys, if you want to subscribe to Joe to Shiny's channel, it's in the description.
To Joe.
Yes, just check it out.
Oh, I released a video today, so I've actually been releasing videos quite common. It might be a couple of days before I post my next one because then my next one is kind of a bit more of a doozy. I'm currently, so I'll go over what I've done recently. So within the last 3 days, I've released a interview with LiteratureDevil talking about Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I've released a video talking about Star Wars Squadrons. I've released a video where me, Voice, Zofrat, LiteratureDevil, Smud, and Glib were all watching The Director and the Jedi, the documentary of The Last Jedi, behind the scenes. So that's pretty fun to watch. And I've also gone over Doctor Who: The Runaway and why it is so fucking boring. And then my next video is going to be Doctor Who: The Edge of Time and why that is so fucking terrible. And the thing is about Edge of Time is it's actually going to take a lot longer to review because it's a longer game, and it's not a free game like the other two shitty BBC games which I reviewed.
Well, thanks, Shiny. That's a good presentation of your channel. What's coming up? Good to know. I always appreciate new content coming out from all of us. Eventually, I'll get back down to fleshing out my Last of Us 2 analysis. It's going through it. I mean, my brain is finally getting back to normal. You know how you experience like art or a story or a movie or an art gallery, it sort of sits with you for a few days and it finally goes away. I'm sort of weaning myself off from the experience I had on Sunday, and my brain will be nice and free tomorrow or the day after, I hope, and I could write back again. But all my planning is done. I just have to flesh it out, do some recording, do some editing, and pump out that video. Finally. Whew.
Yeah, The Last of Us 2 seems like very heavy, empty calories of video games.
I don't know. I could not get to bed on Sunday very well. I was just like stunned. Like, I can't believe I sat through 8 or 9 hours of just violent crap. And listening to people who liked it. I'm like, why do you like this? Oh, the story for this character was so good. Like, they're all violent. They're all bad. There's nothing redeemable about these people. Nothing. There's no high note. Everyone loses everything. It's gore and death and murder. And people, I was reading some interviews with Druckmann. He's like, oh, it's a story of forgiveness. You're like, what? When? Who forgives who? Never happens in the story, except a flashback of a person who's already dead. So you can't forgive a corpse, sadly. But okay. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Before I close, I know CW Trixie's telling me that I should check out JXC. Like, apparently we'll get along well for Doctor Who. It's like, I know Jay likes Doctor Who, or at least is passionate about older Doctor Who. Well, the thing is, I think that's a little bit too big for me. Like, I don't think I could ever... I'm only a small channel for now, so maybe when I'm bigger, I'll be able to connect a bit more. I was lucky enough to meet these two here, and it's been hell ever since.
Fun.
Quite literally.
I made sure of that, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you have any other suggestions for the Smudcast or any ideas, whether for a video or a blog post, be happy to send them to me, either in the comment section below or on the Discord, on the suggestions channel. Any ideas, guys? Do you have anything you want to do tomorrow or the day after? I think we're doing tomorrow morning nonsense, aren't we? Yeah.
There's always
we're going over that Bob Bingo card.
Bob Bingo.
Whatever it is.
If you want to watch that, subscribe to LiteratureDevil down in the description.
There you go. You got it. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It's a little late, but we appreciate your time and patience, and we'll see you soon.
Maybe my question is, why aren't you subscribed to LiteratureDevil? That's the question you should be asking yourself.
What is it?
It's like, the question you're asking yourself is, why aren't you subscribed to LiteratureDevil?
Yeah. The real question is, why did we do this?
The obvious question is, why did we put ourselves through this? Whoever put in my comment section that we should cover this, I need to give them a piece of my mind.
See, it's a democracy here on the Smudcast. We sort of listen to each other and we sort of vote. Well, we don't really vote most of the time, but this was a recommendation. Was it from you, Shiny? I think it was.
Okay, this wasn't a recommendation from me. Someone, you know who you are, put in my comment section, you should cover this. And I, along with two videos, I didn't watch it when I put it in the Smudcast. I was just waking up. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I was very tired. I was like, okay, I'm going to put it in Smudcast DM and then see what everyone thinks of it, and then I'll maybe check it out later. And then we end up covering this. Thank you, whoever it was.
I love democracy.
I love the Republic.
Yes, I'm not as fun as Morning Nonsense, guys. I don't have all these clips to play, but that's what we're going to do tomorrow.
You need to pay, was it 20 quid a month for that shit?
Feature? Yeah.
It's $25 a month, yeah.
At least you actually get super chats, so you can actually fund.
I might be saving money if I switch back to Bell. They're going to give me frickin' fiber, so
no, but at least you actually get super chats, which you can make money off your channel. I can't. Like, that 20 quid a month comes straight out of my wallet.
Oh, Shiny. We'll get you up there, man. Just make more content. You know you're going to get bigger and bigger.
Well, since I've started uploading, I've gotten about 50 subs. Like, within the last, probably about 2 weeks.
That's pretty good.
So if I keep going like that and keep producing content, hopefully things should be well enough.
Well, guys, if you like Shiny's content, be sure to share, like, and subscribe to Shiny down in the comments below or down in the description below.
I thought you ended the stream already.
We're still live.
Oh,
you guys aren't going away. Okay, here we go. We're going. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. We'll talk to you real soon. See you tomorrow morning on LiteratureDevil's Morning Nonsense. Okay.